Hey, you. Cross the aisle. I get so nervous flying, you know? Like, did you ever see the movie Final Destination? Would you like for me to explain the entire plot to you right now? Okay. Welcome to Volay Airlines. Before we begin our pre-flight safety demonstration, we just wanted to remind you that technically no one is safe. I'm not even talking about a mid-air collision or an engine exploding. I just mean in general. You need to take your health seriously, which is why having something like today's in-flight sponsor, ZocDoc, is a godsend. See, ZocDoc is a completely free website where you can search and compare over 100,000 high-quality in-network healthcare providers across nearly every specialty, from mental health to dental health to eye care to skin care, and yeah, probably even plane crash explosion specialists. I'm not saying you need any of those things, but I'm also not saying that today's captain is sober. ZocDoc also lets you filter for doctors who take your insurance so that you're not surprised by an out-of-network bill, and you can check real reviews from verified patients. Then it's super easy to book an appointment, and the best part is you don't even have to talk to anyone. As some of you know, my wife was diagnosed with an appendix tumor back in October 2024, and finding the right doctors for this super rare condition who also actually take our insurance and are nearby has been extremely difficult. We've had several awkward experiences getting rejected from certain places, sometimes just because they incorrectly assumed they couldn't accept our insurance. ZocDoc eliminates a lot of that confusion, and I'm so thankful to have access to this resource as we continue in my wife's recovery journey, not to mention having them as a sponsor helps us financially as we make these decisions. So whether you've already dodged death thanks to some elaborate premonition, or you're just getting older and realizing that your health deserves more attention, head over to ZocDoc.com/Dr. Jordan, also linked in the description, to find and instantly book a top-rated real doctor today. Again, completely for free. Oh, and I guess the seatbelt kind of goes like that, and if the plane starts blowing up, just kind of shove your head between your legs and it'll probably be fine. Thanks again for choosing Volay Airlines.
Let's go take a shit. So why don't you take a shit by yourself?
Apparently everything in this movie is potentially lethal, and not just to acting careers.
I'm still here.
Like, even the credits freaking unsheathed like a knife. Also, what do we think about this history book or whatever that literally screams? Is that normal? I was an English major. Our books mostly just sang. We're apparently in Alex's bedroom, and he's got a huge pecker poster, as well as various things one might need if they were traveling to France for a school field trip. You know, tickets, itinerary, not deodorant, 17 boxes of extra padded condoms. And Alex's dad comes in and is like,
how's my suitcase working out for you?
Because not all parents know how to connect with their kids. But I'm always like, skibbity Fortnite, my gyats. How's your neurodivergence and depression? My kids are like, Dad gets me. Alex's mom tries to remove the tag from Dad's super good suitcase, but Alex is like, whoa, that's bad luck. The previous flight clearly didn't explode in midair soon after takeoff, killing 39 students at my high school, and I think we have to at least consider that's because of these tags here.
Tell you, man, the last flight without the plane crashing or anything, so I figured it's gotta be on the bag.
But Mom rips the tags off anyway because something tells me she doesn't think Alex's dad surviving was that great of a thing.
I'm still here.
Rip it off! That night, Alex is briefly blown awake, and we see that his alarm clock is set to 180, because I guess it's broke as shit. Or is it trying to signal that it wants to turn its life around? I mean, most clocks are addicted to crack. I learned that in the Brave Little Toaster 7, crack clocks.
Heck, he was just sucking this
Sucking so much cocaine up. God, I love that film. Although actually 180 is his flight number, which, eerie? At the airport, this other dad hands one of his two sons like $20 for their 10-day trip to Europe. I'll be shocked if that money gets them past the first vending machine they encounter. Hell, $20 isn't even enough to get you half of a chalupa at an airport Taco Bell. Have some fun. Is $20 for the two of you. Have fun in Europe.
It's just football game.
$20 whole.
Have a great time.
After they quickly get through security because it was pre-9/11, these two students attempt to impregnate each other's mouths, which gives Todd here an idea.
Let's go take a shit.
No, wait, hear him out.
Now let's say halfway through the flight, your body wants that airplane food out, and then like directly after you walks in Krista or Blake.
Stinky!
And he's not wrong. Girls are always coming up to me on planes like, do you want to have sex right now? Or are you the guy that took that massive gnarly shit earlier? And I was like, no, that was Dave.
Sorry.
Would you like to marry me and have 3 children and a Patreon together? That's how I met my wife. It's good advice is my point.
Do you want them to associate you with that watery sting in their eye, that reflexive gag at the back of their throat?
Honestly, I have no idea.
But while Alex blasts his pre-meet cute shit, he hears a John Denver song. It's like, oh my, wait.
Trying to plane crash.
That's ominous. But then even worse, the next song is by Kobe Bryant.
What I live for, basketball, beats and bras.
And then the next song is by Amelia Earhart? Uh-oh. He's like, that can't be a coincidence. And that fear helps him squirt out the last bit of potentially love-killing fecal matter.
Trying to plane crash.
Now, the fake plane owned by a fake airline company looks like absolute garbage. Like the door is a little scraped, the wings are a little messed up, and the table tray is broken. The only thing missing here is a pilot nicknamed Pepe Le Crash. Today, we just see this and go, oh, okay, this must be from Boeing. But 25 years ago, that was not normal. Oh, hey, look.
Younger the better.
No, not. It's because God would never kill a young white baby, right? And also, God would never blow up a disabled person. He'd just, I guess, leave him disabled. Regardless.
Be a f***ed up guy to take down this plane.
Yeah, you watch me, bitch.
So anyway, they're sitting there and some cute girls come up to Alex and are like, hey, did you take a shit before you got on the plane? And like, oh my God, it's happening.
Yeah.
But no, they just want to switch seats. That was the thing you used to be able to do on airplanes without TSA shoving their fist so far up your butt, you started
Stuart Little.
I'm not familiar with that terminology.
which is why Alex is like, fine, except then the entire plane explodes and everybody dies because the passengers are all apparently of the Dave school of philosophy when it comes to respecting the fasten seatbelt light. He calls it lap tyranny. But the worst part of the tragedy is Billy here. He spills the shit out of his whoppers. I can understand God killing babies and disabled people, but my theology simply cannot accommodate a God who would explode a bunch of whoppers.
Alex?
Oh, thank God, that was all just a dream. The whoppers are still safely in their box. But then Alex experiences hot girl deja vu and concludes,
The plane's gonna explode!
and Carter punches Alex in the face because Carter's got nothing to read. It's gonna be a long flight, so he's like, oh, this might be fun. Might as well work off some steam / live out Mark Wahlberg's fantasy. Except, oh shit, they're thrown off the plane. And then Todd's brother tells Todd to go check on Alex. And then this emo chick, Clear, also gets off because she's getting bad vibes from the guy yelling that the plane is gonna explode. He's like, I don't know, I feel weird, I'm gonna get off. Oh, also in the commotion, Billy's not allowed back on the plane even though he wasn't involved. It's just that the lock got stuck in the bathroom. Okay, Billy, sure. I bet you were tugging super hard at that lock in the bathroom.
I was in the bathroom and the lock, it was stuck and
I was masturbating.
I was locked in. You know how hard it is to get out of a bathroom stall? It's not like there's like a 3-foot gap under it. Also, a teacher gets left behind to help these dicks catch a later flight once their terrorist threats have calmed down and they're allowed to board again.
That's pre-9/11 behavior.
Back then, if you screamed about a plane exploding, the only punishment you got was a timeout instead of getting waterboarded with Capri Sun or whatever they used to do in the 90s. It wasn't as bad. Oh, is this Tropical Blast?
Even torture was better.
Yeah, even the torture was better.
Liquid slam!
Whoa. But then the plane explodes for real. And I know what you're thinking, but no.
Why do you think I'm some sort of...
He's not a witch.
Oh. Okay, well, good. I guess that's good then. I suppose he couldn't have done it because that plane was definitely exploded by a witch.
Wingardium Leviosa.
They're interrogated by the best named FBI agent duo in cinema history.
I'm Agent Ween. This is Agent Shrek.
Oh, shit. They got Shrek and Ween? These kids are screwed.
I understand how you all must be feeling right now.
Like onions.
But actually, no, they let everybody go because, again, Alex isn't a witch. Checkmate, FBI. Go back to your swamp.
Bye-bye.
See you later. 39 days later, the survivors attend a school ceremony because I guess they didn't catch a later flight to France. That's a real bummer. Or maybe they did. I guess it's 39 days later. You think they went and came back? Oh my God. This is gonna delay our next flight too. This is the worst field trip I've ever been on. Anyway, a big ass eagle statue is unveiled in the students' honor, presumably because it symbolizes a thing that can fly but not explode. And then while the lead singer of Incubus croons in the background, Todd comes up to Alex.
Listen, I don't want you to take this the wrong way, man, but I miss you.
Gay!
But we all know what you really mean. I won't ask if you won't tell.
But my father, he doesn't understand.
It's not his fault. He's an early 2000s dad. He just doesn't know any better. He's just a dad-age dirtbag, baby. Even without that, Todd's dad is kind of pissed at Alex for maybe somehow being a witch and causing Todd's brother to explode, which is a double whammy because he was the son with the money in his pocket.
The wrong kid died.
He's down a son. He's down $20. Oh. Carter also mentions,
I'm never gonna die.
Great.
yeah. Which is honestly a great goal to have. Personally, I'm still crushing my lifelong streak of having never died. That night, Alex researches fires and explosions and plane crashes, so when the FBI inevitably raids his home, the court case won't take too long. It's just got like stacks of books of like, how to blow up a plane. This doesn't look good. Guy who said the plane was gonna blow up and then the plane blew up.
The theory behind why planes should explode.
But Alex's heart just isn't into this research. So when he sees a blurry, grainy, black and white photo of Clear in the newspaper, he decides, this is as good a time as any to just go to town on my hog. This final destination is apparently a crusty sock.
Wow, must have been a good photo.
It wasn't. He's like, I just need somebody to say the word girl.
Oh, ow, oh! I'll be right back.
Oh, I'll be right back.
Let's go take a shit.
In a dirty sock?
But we all know that's not where his heart truly lies, and the anti-masturbation owl that God always sends when we're tempted knocks on the window, causing Alex to huck his Penthouse magazine into the fan, which shreds it until it reveals a single word. Todd, I think the universe is trying to tell you something, Alex. Listen to it. Is this weird for you, a person sitting across the aisle from me? And speaking of, Todd takes another shit in case he needs to fly somewhere later, and then the toilet water drips out of the toilet and chases him around until he eventually slips on it, which causes him to fall into the bathtub with a clothesline wrapped around his neck until he dies doing what he loved, shitting until unconscious. He dies and the water shamefully retreats back into the toilet and returns to the Mountain Dew factory where it originated so that it could become Baja Blast. Alex runs up just in time to see Todd's body taken away, and Shrek and Ween are like, this kid again? They and Todd's bigoted dad believe this was a shit aside, but Alex realizes his porn magazine and the no-fap owl were trying to tell him that no, Todd was gonna die. He wisely does not mention this to the cops because Alex is for once a smart horror character. I bet if he was attacked by a werewolf, he'd call for SWAT by telling them that a crazy man in a werewolf costume was chasing him, like I recommend in every one of my videos, it feels like. He's like the anti-Kyle Reese.
Cyborg, if it's metal.
Surrounded by living tissue. Great.
Yeah. Oh my God, a leaf! What does it mean?
Almost autumn.
I don't think so.
It's only the end of June.
Let's just agree to disagree. For future viewers, autumn was a season we used to have between the scorch and the freeze. Clear, the seasons expert, shows Alex a piece of artwork she's welded and is like,
It's how you make me feel.
and he's like,
I'm sorry.
because apparently he makes her feel like a stupid, janky piece of shit.
There are two kinds of metal in this yard. Scrap and art.
I'm sorry.
Then Clear's like, while we're talking, what if we went and we broke into the morgue so we can go look at Todd and maybe learn like the size of his balls or maybe something else like about death's design? Should be no problem. After all, it's not like the FBI is watching us or anything.
Gives me a rush.
So they break in and find Todd, but Alex is like,
Is that him?
but I mean, I don't know, dude, it's your friend. You're the one who would know. Dave says he could pick my feet out of a bag of 100 different feet because he's a good friend. But yes,
Yeah, that's him.
glad we cleared that up. The morgue guy busts in then and says a bunch of creepy shit about how death is inevitable and that you shouldn't mess with death by not dying when it wants you to die because it'll get so mad it might kill you. If you don't die when death wants you to die, death might kill you. It seems I'd still have a better chance of living for more time if I don't just die when it says.
You're gonna shoot me if I shoot myself? That doesn't make any sense!
Shouldn't the punishment be like immortality? So you get so tired of living that you beg for death like one of those whiny vampires? I think I get why they put this guy on the night shift. People walk in, he's like, death, it's trying to kill you double. Yeah, so that's Gary. Sorry, is this your son who's killed in the snowmobile accident? I'm so sorry that he's here saying these things. Oh, also, before you go, the Grim Reaper's real name is Mac Daddy.
And you don't even want to with that Mac Daddy.
Boy, we sure are learning a lot. I'm so glad we broke into this morgue and met this strange man who actually never explicitly said that he works here.
Okay then, well,
Clear and Alex go on one of those classic post-morgue break-in coffee dates, and Alex is like, I think sometimes before a death there are omens in the world we could interpret to help us thwart death's design if only we had the eyes to see.
I'm talking about omens.
And also, in my experience, they largely show up in pornographic magazines. So I think we should go and buy and then read a bunch of porn magazines together. Does that make sense? Am I making sense? Also, maybe we should both be naked when we research them so we don't accidentally choke on our clothes. I'm just spitballing.
Now what if you, me, Todd, Carter, Terry, Billy, Mrs. Luton
Go naked.
But before they can catch up on the past few decades of Playboy, which he only reads for the death omens, okay? It's just for the articles and the death omens. Basically, every other Survivor character randomly shows up and starts yelling until Carter's girlfriend says the sensible, if callous thing.
They died and we lived. Get over it.
Then she's hit by a bus, and Alex honors her memory by chilling on the couch watching TV, clearly giving zero thought to her having just detonated into a fountain of blood and viscera. His dad is like,
I'm concerned about you.
and how your best friend died and 39 of your classmates died and how you just watched a girl detonate into a fountain of blood and viscera like an hour ago, but I'm a 2000s movie, Dad, so I'm not gonna do anything to help you in any way. My function is closer to that of furniture, but only worse because you can't, or at least you probably shouldn't, sit on me. And Alex is like, Dad, I'll talk about it when I'm ready. Also, that last part about the detonating girl isn't ringing any bells. Did a girl die recently? On TV, though, they explain how the plane probably exploded, and Alex is like, oh, shit. We all would have died in a highly specific order, like dominoes exploding into fountains of blood and viscera, or Domino's pizza exploding out of Dave.
This pizza is so good. Dad, I'm gay.
Sorry.
And now we're dying in that exact same order, which means, oh my God, the hot teacher is next. Better go skulk around her house in the middle of the night and sort of inspect her tires and stuff for her protection, so she can be protected. That's why I'm peeking in her windows, so I can save her. Better go check her underwear drawer for bear traps.
That's design.
Also, maybe I should be naked when inspecting so I don't choke on my clothes? Shockingly, Hot Teacher is not into his white knight chivalry routine because, ugh, nice guys never win anymore. So she immediately calls Shrek and Ween to arrest him and, oh, never mind.
There's a pattern for you. There is a pattern for you. There's a design for everyone.
Alex has caught horror character idiocy. There's got to be a way to say you're worried the survivors are in trouble without claiming it's Grim Reaper Mac Daddy specifically, right? But actually, it doesn't matter because this was pre-9/11 and the FBI was mostly just all about checking in with people and chatting with them. No need to actually detain the teenage boy ranting about how death is coming for them.
Okay. Go ahead. Get out of here.
Anyway, Hot Teacher resumes packing up her freaky-ass doll so she can move to a new town where kids don't explode into fountains of blood and viscera, even though statistically, at least one of those dolls probably has the voodooed soul of a serial killer inside of it. But Death has other designs, though it's not in so much of a rush that it can't have some fun with it. Apparently, Death is really big on fake-outs. Like, is she gonna get killed with a record player needle? Will she drop knives on her femoral artery? Ooh, she washes a tea kettle. Is that it? The pilot light just went out. Will she explode herself into a fountain of blood and viscera? Oh, okay, no, but the water is hot. She threw the hot water because it was a scary cup.
You've got to stop this. Stop this. It's a stupid mug.
Well, it's not so scary that she can't use it again 5 seconds later. Oh my God, but now she's screwed with science. And the ice cold vodka she pours to chase her hot tea water has cracked said cup, and it drips into the computer, which explodes a bunch of glass into her throat, and then drippy vodka trails explode other things, and then she accidentally pulls a knife into her chest, and then a chair falls on the knife to really drive it home, and then finally the entire house explodes her into presumably a fountain of blood and viscera. Holy shit!
And then a meteor hit.
Wow, Fate's boss must be breathing down its neck because it is leaving nothing to chance. But you know, it's still having fun with it because when you lose passion for your job, that's when you die on the inside.
And you don't even want to do that.
That being said, I do think Death could have gotten even more creative with this kill. We know it can control reality because of the retreating toilet water from Todd's death, so why not have Hot Teacher's appliances form into a Voltron robot that decapitates her with a big-ass anime sword? That's just one idea, and Dave has dozens of ideas. Final Destination, the anime.
Crackhead toaster robot.
Alex shows up in the middle of this Rube Goldbergian nightmare to try and help, but ultimately gives up and runs away right as the house explodes. And that's witnessed by Billy. And Alex has the good sense to run away before a derelict Russian satellite crashes on top of the ruins and a pit to hell opens to suck everything in because leave nothing to chance. Hot Teacher must die. It's Death's design. And let me pause right here to say this is why the Final Destination movies are so much more enjoyable than the majority of schlocky slasher series. I mean, how many damn ways can Jason Voorhees or Michael Myers slit a throat? Occasionally those movies will do something interesting, like huck a few sorority girls around in a sleeping bag blood burrito. But the entire premise of Final Destination revolves around creative and unexpected deaths like a homicidal Rube Goldberg. It's sort of like Saw in that way. Like, what crazy horrific nonsense will they think of next? A machine that sucks off your balls if you can't recite the Gettysburg Address while a cockroach eats your boogers?
Mom's favorite.
I want to play 7 games.
Okay, back to this movie. Carter, Billy, and Clear meet up at Clear's recommendation because she thinks Alex has Death's design figured out, but the cops are officially looking for him again because Billy told them that he saw Alex explode an entire house, suspiciously kind of like a witch. So the kids head off to meet Alex somewhere the Shrek and Ween would never think to look. A beach. The FBI hates sand, almost as much as they hate paying phone tolls.
Here's my card. Toll-free number.
I'm a kid, I don't really pay tolls anyway. That'd be more on my parents, but sure. I'm talking to the FBI right now, and it's not costing me anything. Clear then gives a distraught Alex a pep talk about how her dad was killed while buying cigarettes, but because she believes in the multiverse, there's probably a world where he didn't die buying cigarettes and instead just drove away and never came back and died of lung cancer 4 years later.
Where my dad is still safe. He had a full pack of cigarettes that night and just kept driving.
With his second wife.
This is basically the emo version of the rousing speech from Braveheart. Alex is sort of confused about what this has to do with anything, but then the pretty girl is like, let's go hide in my secret cabin, and also,
Death.
and I don't know, I don't think the incorporeal manifestation of death is gonna be juked out by you switching addresses like you're trying to escape a repo guy. But anyway, Alex is like, okay, whoo, yeah, let's do that. And so they hop in the car where Alex is accused of being another type of magic wielder.
Browning warlock.
And that does actually make sense and would be a fantastic dessert mascot. Hey kids, it's me, the brownie f***ing warlock. Every brownie we sell has been full of magical chocolate chips and mystical peanut butter goo by a warlock, specifically me, the brownie f***ing warlock. I f*** brownies from Little Debbie Snacks.
Chew them with your teeth, swallow them down your tummy.
Browning warlock.
But then Carter is like, you know what? I'm gonna entertain killing myself for a minute if you guys will just indulge me.
Not now.
And eventually he stops on a train track and is like, ha ha, I shall die by train.
Listen to me. This isn't the way.
And the others crawl out and Carter's like, actually, I don't want to die by train. But suddenly the car won't start and the door locks and the seatbelt jams, forcing Alex to save him at the last second. So actually everything's okay, except for, I guess, well, there's the one thing where this piece of metal shoots off the track and cuts Billy's head clean off, thereby proving his driver's ed instructor correct.
He goes, young man, you're gonna die at a very young age. Is that true?
It sure is.
Alex can now see the entire golden path laid out before him.
If I see it, then I intervene. And if I intervene, I cheat the design.
Basically, he's determined that if somebody intervenes to prevent a death, death skips over to that person and goes to the next person on the list instead of just giving them both heart attacks or something. So because Alex saved Carter, death skipped to Billy, and nobody was gonna save Billy anyway, so goodbye, Billy. Alex is next though, so he goes and Rube Goldberg proofs Clear's cabin, while Clear heads home to be like, well, I sure hope Alex doesn't die, because if he does, he'll have no way to let me know I'm now standing naked in front of the runaway freight train that is Mac Daddy Death itself, but I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure Alex won't get tired of eating from cans and wearing gloves for the next, I don't know, 50 years until he dies of old age or literally any internal organ failure that death can give him at any second. This is a long-term solution, and I'm glad it's the path we've chosen to pursue. Except, oh shit. Despite reading just so many books about explosions, Alex realizes he got it wrong and Clear is actually next.
Who's next?
Because those girls on the plane weren't impressed with his mighty sphincter prowess and just wanted to change seats, but that never technically happened. So the death cue, it's all askew. So he runs out of the cabin to go save Clear, who by the way just ratted him out to the FBI for no clear reason. And also no clear crime. Freeze, you're under arrest, cause you didn't die. She should be named Not Clear. She's convinced to help because they're like, no, we believe you that he's being pursued by death itself, which is why
I give you my word that we will bring him in safely in protective custody.
Are you serious? I'm dead serious.
But like, I'm pretty sure that's to protect people from like criminals with guns, not the wrath of Zeus himself. I mean, holy shit, Clear's house and the production budget is just getting shelled with lightning bolts. Like, how is she expecting the FBI to protect Alex? Doesn't matter, because Alex escapes in a canoe. That's the only vehicle the FBI can't pursue legally.
Get in the car. We're going around. Get in the car.
But again, at Clear's house, Death has completely given up on the playful accident thing. There's the aforementioned lightning strikes, but also every electrical thing in the building explodes, weather vanes are hucked at her, power lines are dropped, her above ground pool pops, and generally just every single imaginable mishap short of a serial killer convention being held next door or redirecting a nuclear missile into her crotch happens.
The car's gonna explode!
I mean, Death could cause like an air bubble to form inside her veins or something, but you can't just ignore the showman inside yourself, you know? This movie is a powerful message about staying true to yourself, even when the world is trying to dim your sparkle. Alex eventually shows up. He was delayed when he got crushed by a tree, but like just for a second. It wasn't his time. And he decides to kill himself to screw up the queue and save Clear by just grabbing a live power line and exploding backwards into the garage. If this was released in the 90s, that zap would probably have given him superpowers or made his wristwatch come alive, but no, fade to white. Just kidding, he didn't die. And we time jump to 6 months later when Carter, Alex, and Clear finally arrive at their destination in Paris. I guess they're finally over their fear of flying and the memories of all their dead friends and the intensive physical therapy after grabbing a live power line and also exploding after first being hit by a falling tree. It's been a tough 6 months, but they put in the work, and now they intend to grab life by the baguettes. My baguette! Except, hey, wait, did anybody technically intervene on Alex's behalf? If not, does that mean he's still technically next? But Carter saves him, so now he's good officially, except, oh my God, the other half of the sign looks like it's about to hit Carter, seemingly implying the cycle never stopped. But okay, why did Death wait 6 months to start again? Did they lay off the old Death for failing and have to train a new one? Is this like Death's intern's first gig or whatever? He's like, honestly, I just need a break. And the boss is like, I get it.
At writer's block.
They literally just flew on a plane to France like they were going to do at the beginning of the movie. Why not blow up that plane? Or at the very least, give them airplane food poisoning so they have to shit on the plane, which thanks to Todd, we know is so embarrassing, you might as well die because a woman would never be able to love your shitty ass. That'd get the job done and be a pretty sick callback and punishment for their arrogant belief that they could thwart Death and, you know, hold in the airplane food, I guess. Also, what's the fallout in Death's design when people don't immediately die like they're supposed to? It's like the same thing with soulmates, right? Like if soulmates are real, but just one person marries their soul runner-up, that means they've stolen somebody else's soulmate, meaning they have to steal somebody else's soulmate and on until every marriage is just two cold, human-shaped husks joylessly pounding away until the sun explodes. It's the same thing with Death. Like, how many people have now died or not died because of these dickheads' non-deaths? I mean, Carter drives like absolute shit, so he's definitely caused a few accidents, not even including that time a train ran into his car. In time travel movies, they always panic about not stepping on any bugs because even the tiniest change can butterfly affect you into wanting to have sex with your own now young and hot mom. Like every decision we make, like stopping for coffee or stomping on a bunch of bugs in France, is actively altering the future that Death laid out. Is that why Death took 6 months off? It's just so rattled it had to go back to the drawing board and rewrite the death plan for all of human existence? Is that why 9/11 happened in this universe? To rebalance the plane death equation? Seems like that'd take at least 6 months to plan. I do not envy him.
And you don't even want to f with that Mac Daddy.
Yes, right, of course. Thank you for reminding me. Anyway, so now you get it. That's the plot of the first Final Destination movie, and it's why I'm scared to fly. Because I'm worried that... Well, that was just a vision. I guess I'm not gonna go to Dave's funeral on an airplane, nor will I explain the entire plot of the first Final Destination movie to anybody on the way. Maybe I'll drive? God, I get so nervous riding in an Uber. Do you? Did you ever see the second Final Destination movie? Would you like for me to explain the entire plot to you right now so that you can be as nervous as I am?
Dude, look at those titties!
So it's been exactly
525,600 minutes
since that plane exploded. Or 6 months after Carter got splattered because of poor French engineering caused by probably socialism. However you want to do it.
Tomorrow marks the 1-year anniversary since...
And on the TV, this guy tries to explain how death is mean, but is not, in fact,
ghosts and witches and stuff like that.
It's sinister, which is unlike ghosts and witches, but it's not a religious thing. It's a force.
I believe that there's a sort of force, an unseen, malevolent presence all around us every day, and it determines when we live and die.
That's not how the Force works.
Also, it may be the devil, but again, he's not religious.
Some people call this force the devil.
But I don't.
So he'll call it death itself, which sort of sounds like a person, one that he specifically thinks has a plan, which kind of feels like believing in and fearing it would be textbook religion, but actually no, because according to him, all the wacky deaths from the first movie prove Mr. Death's non-religious, not witch existence.
People die all the time, so why should this be any different?
I already told you, it's because of the wackiness.
I mean, there were so many weird, seemingly random things about the way they died.
Also, to be clear,
You're saying that we should be on guard every morning when we leave the house?
In the end, no one can escape death.
so if there's no way to escape death, and it's always around,
I'm surrounded by death?
I mean, maybe.
then what difference is it what I do exactly? How is this any different than just how life and death always works? I guess I promised to try and make sure I'm not standing near any collections of sharp objects that could ostensibly topple in hilarious domino fashion before impaling me in all of my body parts, but I already do that. It's called the Dave Protocol. Is this franchise just a sneaky way to teach nihilism to Americans? We already have CEOs for that. Regardless, thanks, talk show guest. Next time we'll dig into just how Mac Daddy is death, really.
Please.
Dude, death is like always trying to get you, so you need to watch out, okay? How? Well, don't die. I'm already trying not to die. That's sort of my default. No, death is trying to kill you. What do you want me to do about it? Your stomach is trying to make you hungry and eat. Well, yeah, right? Sorry, what?
Yeah, but you should be more open-minded.
Here are two girls. No cup, though. Kimberly, and also a less important girl who will be dead in 10 minutes. Spoiler alert.
Well, that makes me feel a lot better, thanks.
Between them, they own about one full shirt's worth of shirt and half a character's worth of depth. And they're getting ready to road trip to Somalia.
It's Daytona, not Somalia.
Oh, my bad. I always get those confused. I packed the exact same stuff for both.
Condoms, whips, chains.
My Bible.
So they peel out for the Somalia of Florida, but leave behind a puddle of blood on the driveway, which is either an omen of impending death or a menstrual cycle. And or it's cinema language that their car is a girl. Regardless, buckle up! I guess a menstrual cycle is an omen of fertility.
That's nice.
The girls pick up two more unimportant, soon-to-be-dead, spoiler alert, boys who are mean homeless people. So, I'm kind of rooting for death on this one. Maybe this is like a Terminator 2 switch where death is now the good guy? Although to be fair, what is this lady asking for exactly? She just holds up a bunch of cans. Does she want more cans? Is she proud of her cans? Is she living in a Fallout future where the currency is cans? Is this cinema language for her wanting the girls to show her their cans?
Dude, look at those titties!
Dave, haven't you seen those before? Don't ask me how he knows. He doesn't even watch any of the movies we cover. He can just sense when women are topless and whether they've been topless before in his vicinity or in other films. It's crazy how he can do that.
All right, you then.
Sorry.
Anyway, they merge onto America's most insane interstate and meet a bunch of other motorists, including a truck driver who, instead of using meth like a normal trucker, drinks while driving, which Kimberly acts like is super irresponsible. And yet until that moment, she wasn't even wearing a seatbelt.
Oh yeah, that's real responsible.
Buckle up! I'm pretty sure it's legal to drink as long as you're wearing a seatbelt, Kimberly. Pretty much everything is legal if you've got your seatbelt on. Dave once robbed a bank with a seatbelt wrapped around him, and the only thing that got him on was public nudity when the belt slipped off.
You know, bust me, bitch.
They drive a bit further until a truck drops logs all over the road like that one time Dave couldn't make it to the rest stop. He's like, we really need to stop. He's like, I'm dropping logs. Just sticks his ass out the window. Cars behind him. And just like when Dave did, dozens of people are killed in horrific, fiery ways. But let me tell you, it does look cool as shit. I absolutely love when movies shove crash test dummies in a cheap car, huck it down the road, and film the result. I love it even more when each car is apparently hauling buckets full of hand grenades. This part is only implied, but I'm not sure how else you explain the majority of these explosions. But alas, this was only a vision of what could be if Kimberly wanted to be a part of something awesome for once, but instead she whips her car across the on-ramp, cock-blocking death and everybody behind her. They're all like, what the hell, get out of the way, lady. What the f, Kimberly? But a hot cop with a hot hat is like, hold up, I will deal with this as slowly as humanly possible. I'm paid hourly. At no point does he ever tell Kimberly to actually move her car, pull over, or wave the people behind her to drive around.
Is there any way that we could drive around?
You need to get back into your vehicles.
He's just like, hey, what's going on here?
What's going on here?
Nothing much, Officer Quaalude. How's connecting to the great universal consciousness working out for you? Hey, look at that log truck. Wow, that's crazy. And also, it exploded way closer to them than in the premonition for whatever reason. I wonder what went wrong this time that caused it to explode like a good 10 miles closer down the road. Well, it's not our problem. Where were we, miss? Oh, dang it. Probably should have moved that car, huh? Everybody on the on-ramp is brought into the station, but like, why? The only person who did anything weird or had anything happen to them was Kimberly, right? And like, how long was that line? What's the cutoff for the number of people who need to be talked to by the cops? How many cars back did they go? But then again, who am I to question the most thorough detective in the game?
Detective Subi.
Damn, this town gets all the coolest named cops. I need a CSI Shrek, Ween, and Subi show stat. Until then, this fly-ass guy explains the entire plot of the first movie real quick.
Bunch of bullshit.
And also sort of this series' guiding philosophy.
When your number's up, right?
That was off the hinges!
Which this crackhead guy is very on board with. But speaking from experience, crackheads are pretty much on board with anything if you catch them on the upswing. Like, I don't know, say, helping you film a comedy YouTube series in your basement where you pretend to be a doctor. You offer them a little crack, they'll do it. And then everybody is let go because they really shouldn't have been there in the first place, except maybe Kimberly. And she should get some kind of traffic ticket, right? You can't just tell truckers not to drink and also block the road, Kimberly. CEOs have jobs to get to, and spicy Italians need to follow them. I meant Dave. Dave follows CEOs. No other Italians did. I mean, that's a different Italian. Also, that night, Kimberly is like,
this really bad feeling.
Yeah, that's the feeling you get when 3 of your friends explode in front of your eyes because you suck at parking. It's a bad feeling. That's why Dave has flashbacks whenever he has to back into a parallel spot. 3 of his friends died.
I know this sounds crazy, but
way too many people have died.
I'm just having a bad feeling. It's like, yeah, you just saw like 100 people explode in fireballs, including all of your friends.
You literally have PTSD.
Yeah, you don't feel bad. You have a diagnosable problem. Yeah, you need a prescription of some kind.
Medical attention.
Yeah.
Sweetie, are you sure you're okay?
The dead people.
Well, she struggles to pinpoint the source of why she just feels kind of off lately. This dickhead dude that won $250,000 in a recent lottery, but still lives in an absolute shithole apartment, returns home with several high-end purchases, none of which are a PS2. All right, enough screwing around. Pop that shirt off. It's time to cook, my man.
So I'm gonna go ahead and pop this shirt off.
What do we have? Bacon, French fries fried in a pan, water and hot oil. Usually you put an extra shirt on top of your shirt, like an apron.
Bare naked nipples are gonna get splattered with grease, dude.
Yeah.
call me.
Except Dickhead's microwave catches fire after the unseen hands of death itself plop a fridge magnet into his leftover Chinese food.
555.
And his cheese sticks catch on fire.
Oh, get the out of here!
And he gets stuck in the sink. And the movie wants me to be like, oh man, he's gonna die from his apartment burning down and exploding and his subpar disposal fisting technique. But actually, I think he's more likely to have died if he ate the food that he was preparing for himself. He's like leftover Chinese food and cheese sticks. He put cheese sticks in a pan.
Oh. No, this is a Michelin star.
And anyway, the way he actually dies is he slips on
Mom Spaghetti
and gets impaled with the fire escape ladder. How many of your cousins have died that way, Dave? All of them?
I only eat things that I can grip to. I do not eat slippery.
By the way, it turns out Clear is still alive, though voluntarily locked up in a mental institution because she can't get over Alex's death by a brick. Just a brick, and Clear's drowning slowly. She's a brick and
This is what happened to Alex.
He spent 9 months cheating and defeating death only to be smacked by a brick? A brick in an alleyway, apparently? Maybe there was another brick waiting around the corner with a gun just in case the first brick didn't do the job. I mean, bricks do run most of the real estate game in the United States. And here's a, and I quote, nice shot of strangled Todd before the coroner showed up. Can't argue with that. It's a nice shot.
The content isn't nice. I'm talking composition.
Yeah, I don't want to get weird about it. I'm an aficionado. I'm an enthusiast of the craft. Hey, Kimberly also has weird-ass hanging dolls everywhere. Is that the connection between her and Alex and also the hot teacher? Is Death trying to kill all the weird kids? Because if so, I really don't have a problem with it. I hate weird kids, I guess.
Some people just need some rewiring, that's all.
Kimberly goes to chat with Clear and be like, how can I not die and live forever? But before Kimberly goes in, she has to give up any sharp objects on her and anything that could set off, I don't know, like a Rube Goldbergian hilarious death sequence, including
shoelaces, paper clips, watches,
poisons. Yet that one seems obvious. No shoelaces, no hair clips, no poison. That's a big one. Also, please don't bring your machete, and could you please take your suicide bomb vest off?
Good. Then I think we're all done.
Clear's a little paranoid.
Holding this like big jug with like the skull on it.
The skull and crossbones. I need it. It's not for her.
I brought this all the way here.
Are you gonna keep it safe?
No, honey.
Although apparently she's not so paranoid as to not have reams of newspaper plastered all over her room. What about highly lethal paper cuts, Clear? I don't know. But Clear explains some things about the death order and subtle omens and
Have you ever seen anything creepy or ominous? My pussy.
Even though Kimberly points out that they're actually dying in reverse of her premonition, which really throws Clear for a loop.
Wait. Dead last.
It's weird. Yes.
And now she's off the coast and headed nowhere. The girls don't really get along.
Coward.
But Hot Cop has a plan.
We're meeting tonight at my apartment.
For sex?
Well, at first, no.
Oh, but wait, eagle-eyed Kimberly actually spots an incredibly subtle omen that might portend the death of the kid that survived the Great Logging. Wow.
Pigeons.
Pigeons.
Death is so subtle with its signs. Like, how did she even notice that? Think that's an omen?
Felt ominous.
She and Hot Cop rush to the dentist office where the kid is to save him from a pigeon attack?
Nora and Tim are gonna be attacked by pigeons.
Pigeon? What pigeon?
I mean, hey, those things are full of parasites. Plus, they're dumb as hell. So one may try to crawl down your throat and suffocate you if you try to swallow it whole again. Stares knowingly at Dave. You can't swallow them whole, they're too big.
Practice makes perfect, man.
It's like you start with smaller pigeons and you get bigger and bigger pigeons and your throat kind of expands with the pigeons.
But I don't...
Now, I know what you're thinking, that actually dental bills are more likely to kill him way before pigeons ever might. But no, the kid's got a plan to get this dental work for free.
If he gives me the gas and I wake up with my pants unbuttoned, we ain't paying.
That is what you call the art of the deal.
I'm just kidding.
Tim.
This underage boy was just joking about being raped by his dentist because he knew his mom loves that sort of silly, off-color humor and he's trying to cheer her up. Sweet kid.
Can't rape a guy.
You watch me, bitch.
Except, wait, the dentist does actually turn on the gas, so maybe that was a cry for help?
Not really.
Man, paid for healthcare in America is so brutal. Ooh. Strangely, it actually seems like the pigeons are maybe trying to actually help this kid? It's like a whole flock of Chris Hansons. Like every time the dentist gets too frisky, they distract him by throwing their bodies against the windows. Man, these pigeons are actually heroes.
Barrel-chested, the envies of all ornithologies.
They're leaders.
Damn, pigeons.
And indeed, nobody gets killed in the dentist's office. But when they go outside, this ass kid chases a bunch of his would-be rescuers around, and it turns out the kid handles panes of glass about as well as dental gas. His mother understandably is horrified because she just dumped a bunch of money into a filling for this now entirely flat child. This is like getting your engine replaced only to total your car in the Arby's drive-thru 15 minutes later. It's like, what a waste. Hey, quick question. What exactly are they putting into this body bag here? I feel like they could just scoop up whatever's left of the kid and put it in a Ziploc. I guess one good thing for the mom is that you could probably bury this kid in an IKEA flat pack box. That'll save you a lot of money on coffins.
Right now, I don't think she cares.
Trying to think of like a Swedish word for coffin. It's a coffin or whatever. Whatever, not all is lost because the coward Clear River shows up even though she could be killed at any second by a brick or a pigeon with a gun.
I hope you're ready for this.
Pigeon.
And she takes Kimberly and Hot Cop to a cremation station to chat with the weird morgue guy from last movie. He offers that
Only new life can defeat death.
Also, our friendship.
which Kimberly takes to mean, oh shit, that pregnant woman from the Knot accident needs to have her baby because the baby was never supposed to be born. But I was sort of reading this as a, hey, we need to do an unprotected orgy right away with all the fertile women so we can hopefully get one or two of them pregnant. I mean, honestly, either way, maybe just to cover our bases.
You don't want to f that Mac Daddy.
Calm down, Candyman. I didn't mean with death. I was thinking with Hot Cop.
I'm thinking sucking my junk, biatch.
Seriously though, this is such a weird ass out of left field rule. I thought the point of the first movie was that cheating death just butterfly affects death's carefully laid out plan for Earth, suggesting that death is actually God and that death is the only truth in the universe, making existence ultimately pointless. But now we're thinking that having a baby could just fix everything? What are you, Dave's parents? I'm sorry, Dave, that was uncalled for. Kimberly then has a vision of drowning and is like, oh, I bet the pregnant lady is gonna drown.
Seems like a bit of a reach, don't you think?
Biatch.
But the cop uses his cop tech and flexibility with abusing his power to heroically get the pregnant lady arrested to save her from maybe drowning herself per the vision of this random civilian woman.
I can practically taste the water in my mouth.
Guilty. Guilty.
That's how we should do all police work. Although credit where credit's due, he never would have found the van without Kimberly's, again, eagle eyes.
That's it.
Got it.
Spotted that van so good, no pigeons or pregnant ladies or vans escapes her sight. Later that night, the rest of the survivors meet up at the cop's apartment and ask the important questions.
Is that dog shit, dude?
Kimberly is like, look, we all gotta be on guard. So here are some cell phones because I guess this is far enough in the past that none of you own your own cell phone and or we're worried that death can track phone calls and these are all burners? Either way, I'll call you if I see any more subtle omens. Like, I don't know, you being eaten alive by doves or pecked by ostriches or any other bird-themed catastrophes.
If you know what to look for, you have a fighting chance.
Canada gooses. Those are Canada's gooses.
I gotta call bull.
The fly-ass guy is not on board because he just looked at his butthole and realized,
My ass is alive, huh? Has been all day.
hard to argue with that. That ass is so alive, Victor Frankenstein would be all like, there's nothing, I can't do anything with that ass. My science is for dead asses, but that ass, it's alive.
How long did that joke take?
Not very, if you can believe it. Claire is almost killed by a sealing kayak, the most common household death in America. And like, hey guys, maybe this wasn't the best place to meet.
Should've seen that coming.
It's pretty established that death is silly and wacky, and it's hard to imagine anything sillier than being impaled by a kayak inexplicably hanging from a ceiling. Death must have been just doing fist pumps when it saw this idiot's apartment. It's like, oh my God, it's got ceiling kayaks? This is gonna be so wacky. So they set to death-proofing the rest of the apartment, but the crackhead sees an omen of the dead boy's mom being killed by...
Man with hooks.
A what? With a what?
Man with hooks.
Oh, a male hooker?
I think I see a man with hooks.
He's right. But also, like, men with hooks are always bad, right? Captain Hook? Dave? Both bad. Both bad guys.
You're a crook, Captain Hook.
Sorry.
Oh, shit. There's a man with hooks on the elevator right now. And sure enough, bad dude. They call mommy on her brand new cell phone and she's like,
who is this?
As if she wasn't handed this phone like 7 minutes ago for the express purpose of warning her about omens and stuff.
Can you hear me?
Who else has this number?
But they're like, hey, we've learned something.
A man with hooks is gonna kill you.
God, I hope not.
Feels a little straightforward for death though. A man or maybe a brick with a gun is gonna shoot you. This is death's design. But it still flips mommy out and she gets her hair caught in one of the man's hooks. And when she tries to jump off the elevator, her head pops right off. So basically her death would have been avoidable if she and the others weren't just a bunch of ableists, right? Still not convinced Death is the bad guy here. Also, this is now the second omen in a row that is utterly useless. Like, yes, technically pigeons were around when the kid got flattened by a pane of glass, and sure, a hook was kind of involved in this death, but this is like seeing a vision of a guy shooting a gun, only for the person to actually be killed by a gunshot that frightens a cat which drops a flower pot on their head. It just feels like a weird red herring. But then again, that is very silly.
I think I see a man with hooks. He didn't.
Now, this death kind of looks like an accident, but a lot of people are about to be in huge trouble, right? I'm gonna guess an elevator that cuts heads off goes against building codes. Somebody's probably going to be on the literal and figurative hook for this.
Judge, won't you throw the book at the
building manager?
Upstairs, the fly-ass guy flips out, grabs Hot Cop's poorly guarded gun, and tries to shoot himself.
I'm going to kill myself over this! You will
But Death apparently won't let him because that's not part of the plan.
I control my life!
He didn't.
And okay, that's a little scary, being forced to have to be in more of this movie.
6 in a row?
But also, I guess whoever isn't next on the list is now invincible? They could just go jump off the roof right now or eat at Arby's? That's kind of cool. Personally, I'd use this power to become a superhero. Like, yeah, I would die in the end, but I will die anyway one day. But leaving behind a legacy of being an actual hero with actual superpowers, that would be my immortality. Also, I'd eat like so much shrimp, like a lethal amount of shrimp. Those are the two things I would do.
I like that you jumped to shrimp because I agree. Red Lobster's going out of business again.
I'm back! Oh, it turns out they arrested the pregnant lady. That's not the uh-oh. I believe all pregnant women should be arrested. Support my Patreon so I can finish the prototype for the fetus cuffs that I've invented, the handcuffs for fetuses. But the uh-oh is that her water burst in her cell, which actually could be the way that she drowns.
I can practically taste the water in my mouth.
But no, instead the guard pulls her out to take her to the hospital, which is bad because it's an American hospital where maternal mortality rates aren't really that great. She's in danger.
I can practically taste
death. The majority of the main characters road trip to see her because if she pops out that baby, they're all presumably saved. And also they could cover their bases by doing a quick unprotected orgy in one of the cleaning supply closets. And like, wait, was that Death's plan all along? Is watching its kink?
Oh my God. I'm sorry.
They chat and quickly realize they've all survived near-death experiences as a direct result from the survivors of Flight 180, not, like immediately dying, but in the witch explosion. For example, the uptight woman here was supposed to go to a bed and breakfast where everybody died from a gas leak, but she never made it because the bus she was on plowed into that girlfriend from the first movie.
We're gonna be epically late.
So like I thought, Flight 180 had a ripple effect that caused several other people to not die, so Death is now frantically running around trying to tie up loose ends, but surely these aren't the only non-deaths resulting from Flight 180, not to mention they just also survived their own huge catastrophe, which means there are presumably a bunch of people affected by their survival again. And I guess I'm just saying it's a massive losing game for Death. He will never catch up. Death is essentially wiping while shitting. This task is impossible. The butterfly has affected too hard over everything. You basically would have to kill like 10% of the world population to catch up. You'd be better off just letting the mass orgy baby boom option happen and starting from scratch. Like, dude, your life is so pointless, Death. You should just give up and go into real estate like all my creative friends who also gave up and never started a dumb YouTube channel like me. Subscribe today or be forced to sell you a real house that has ghosts and witches and the entity known as Death in every nook and cranny.
A ghost lives up there.
So Dave's in the house. That's what I'm trying to say. He's in every house I sell. I'm the entity known as Death.
Sorry.
But also this explains why Death is working backwards this time, because it's cleaning up the rift and backwards is the way to do that. Shit. Their tire pops and they almost run into the van with the pregnant lady. But if you're going that way and she's going that way. I guess maybe they didn't realize she was going to the hospital yet, but it's funnier if they just had no idea where the hell the hospital was. Or maybe they're desperately trying to find a hospital that takes her insurance, but like, good luck, idiots. This is America, baby. But actually, if she rode with them anywhere, it would probably not end well because Uptight Lady is a terrible driver. She doesn't take the foot off the gas for a solid 30 seconds while they slam into every single object on this random farm like they got hit with a red shell. The fly-ass guy's lung is punctured, so he's rushed to the hospital too, and driver lady's seatbelt has become a whole ass tree, so she's stuck. And when they try to get her out, they quickly realize, oh, actually, I guess there's no real rush. Also, a news van parked so its gas tank gets punctured and a bunch of gas follows PVC pipe aqueducts or whatever to where the uptight lady's cigarette has fallen and the gas ignites, exploding the entire van, which explodes a fence right into the crackhead and slicing him into several different cuts of variable quality. Personally, I wouldn't eat any of it. Too much cocaine in the meat. Heroin is what gets you the most tender bite. Also, I don't eat humans, to be clear. No matter how hard the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise wants me to.
Got to tell the secret of that fabulously tasty chili.
No secret, it's the meat.
I'm not gonna do it. Nobody's particularly upset by all this mayhem, so Hot Cop, Clear, and Kimberly head to the hospital, which I guess they do know about now. At least partially it's thanks to a distressing vision.
I think a nurse named Kalarjian is gonna try and kill Isabella.
First off, another kick-ass name. Really well done, Final Destination name inventors. Secondly, she's definitely a doctor, asshole. Way to assume she's a nurse just because she's a woman. Also, why do we just accept that some random woman is gonna choke out the pregnant lady? They seem very on board with the idea that death just convinces people to murder other people rather than what it actually does, which is use a wacky and silly series of Rube Goldbergian events to do it. Like, what are you, stupid? Didn't you all learn from the Hook guy fiasco? If anything is gonna kill her in the hospital, it's the bill for a delivery, and also maybe a piano will fall off the roof on their way out.
There was screaming and a nurse was trying to choke.
And it's like a piano fell.
At the hospital, fly-ass guy's is getting unplugged, which seems bad, and they preemptively arrest Kalarjian, or whatever her name is.
Not now, I'm busy.
Even though she's trying to help with the birth, because this cop is very arrest first, figure out that specific plan later, but it's fine because the baby is born, which seems to say fly-ass guy. And I think we should channel this celebratory energy into a cover our bases orgy. I don't think we should not do that. It's not safe to not do that. But does anybody listen to me? No! I'm not sure how the hospital exploded, but I know it's because nobody plowed anybody.
What are you talking about?
You talking about having sex?
And now Clear is too charred to even attempt a death-thwarting pregnancy with. That's on you, Kimberly. Can't have sex with that, it's dead.
No, don't worry, she had the baby.
It's okay.
Except Kimberly's like, wait, I thought that the baby was supposed to save everybody. And like a lot of couples make that mistake, right? But the real key to long-term survival of a marriage is a PlayStation. That's why we have so many sad parents in the world. Their sad parents put way too much pressure on the kids and their ability to save them from their problems, instead of just getting a PS2. Thankfully, my wife and I are the perfect parents, and we put all the pressure on you to support our Patreon, to save my children, and my marriage, and to get me a PlayStation 5 Slim Digital. Kimberly realizes, oh wait, the pregnant lady actually never died, even in the original Vision accident. So she was a non-factor in this whole thing.
It's me. The premonitions are about me.
I wish I'd remembered that before everybody else died. She was just a random pregnant lady that her dumbass had arrested and terrorized with prophecies of death. Fantastic work, Kimberly and the police. But Kimberly now realizes what she needs to do, and she whispers in Hot Cop's ear the two words that drive every guy just wild.
Get Kalarjian.
Say it again. My wife said that to me on our wedding night, and I was very confused, but I still went with it. And she was also confused. And that's when we learned that my wife had had a stroke, which was a funnier joke before she got a tumor on her appendix, but you know, we already wrote it, so. Then Kimberly steals a freaking ambulance and drives it into the lake to kill herself.
I know what I have to do to save us.
Aim for the bushes.
And then hopefully be resuscitated by Kalarjian, who is both apparently an OBGYN and also resuscitate drowning victims doctor. Most medical professionals specialize in one or the other. But actually, hey, Kimberly, that's kind of a super waste of an ambulance. You could have just jumped in the lake with some rocks in your pockets. Pocket rockets, a more budget-friendly alternative to ambulance suicide. Or use the vehicle you drove here in. There's no need to destroy an entire ambulance full of life-saving equipment, asshole. Yet another checkmark in the death is probably the hero of this movie column. Whatever. She's saved by Hot Cop after he performs the most heroic middle schooler belly flop of a dive, and she's brought back to life by Polymath Kevorkian or whatever. I'm not good with medical names.
In order to save us all some time, I will call all the males Daves and all the females
Kalarjian.
But all of this is to say, if you squint really hard, then Kimberly's partial death counts as creating new life. I guess.
Thanks to you, we cheated death.
Somehow. And Death decides to leave them all alone because it's honestly, it's so darn confused and truthfully probably just tired of dealing with these dickheads. Also, what happens if there are extra deaths that Death didn't account for? Like say the, I don't know, 137 people who probably died in this insane hospital explosion? That's 137 more death fallouts that he's got to kill everybody affected by. Ugh. Wait, how many people died because the ambulance was out of commission? Also, Kimberly's sacrifice doesn't affect all that much since literally everybody except her and Hot Cop are already dead, but I guess they're still alive, so that's something. Something shitty, but still something. Hey, why don't we go have a fun barbecue with the farmer and his family? You know, from earlier?
Ooh, that just made me hungry.
Brian, I think you better go check that barbecue.
You'd think they'd have an aversion to revisiting the place where 2 of their friends were gored to death while 2 other friends sustained injuries resulting in their deaths, and that the farmer himself would be hesitant to bring back these people with the worst luck of all time and who did thousands of dollars in damage to his farm. But hey, time and tasty barbecue heals all wounds. But actually no, because the farmer's dumb son gets blasted by the grill as punishment for—
Well, Brian was almost hit by that news van that day in the field, and your friend Rory, he pulled him back at the last second.
And wait, does this mean the cycle has restarted for Kimberly and the cop because they were associated with the bad at grilling kid? Who knows? But more importantly, who cares? Pass the charred burger that looks a little bit like that guy we used to know. Am I crazy or is that guy up there dropping logs? Another vision? So I can't even drive there nor explain the plot of the second movie?
I wonder if there's any long distance roller coaster options.
God, I get so nervous every time I ride one of these long distance roller coasters based on a 2005 Dodge Caravan. Oh, did you ever see the third Final Destination movie? Would you like for me to explain the plot in its entirety to you right now?
There you do, flash me them sweet, sweet titties when we go through the loop.
Carnival shots, carnival font, CG carnival game where a ball goes in the death hole, which is the worst hole for balls to go into, in my opinion. Talk about a bad night of clowning.
Well, down here.
A few dumb teens ride a carnival ride and are like, you see that? Yeah. Kevin, you idiot. Wendy was not only taking photos, it's just a normal ride. Oh my God. You're not a hero for experiencing one of the park's regular attractions. There's a reason Disney doesn't upsell you pictures of you riding the teacups.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, man.
Welcome to the dance tea party.
Yes, yes. Nice, nice, nice.
Now, you do get extra points for making your own fun by taking photos of women's camel toes for the yearbook. That takes initiative, even if it doesn't end up in the yearbook.
I doubt it. If a shot of Stacey Kobayashi's camel toe is gonna make it in there.
No, but we still have to try.
You can't judge art by its commercial viability. That said, it is also important to make money, which is why Wendy goes to take photos of these other 2 girls' exposed thongs.
Now, that chart there, that'll sell some yearbooks.
I'm sorry, are you uploading the yearbook to Snapchat? Are there click-through rate considerations? Is there a yearbook algorithm I'm not aware of? Are yearbook sales really gonna be affected by whether there are butt cracks in it?
All right, so I'm a total whore.
Wendy's playing this scene totally straight, as if it does matter, but I feel like all they'd actually do is get you sent to jail, right? These girls are underage and not even consenting.
They don't get to make it to 18.
You should get some photos of those thongs. Oh, you're right. I am here for the yearbook.
Wait, what?
What kind of yearbook are we talking?
Is this for the yearbook or underage teenage?
Underage teen extreme.
I get those 2 mixed up all the time.
Sorry.
Take a shot of this.
Still iffy, actually. Obscene gestures are likely frowned upon in the school yearbook. But no, this is Wendy's younger sister.
Mom, know you're here?
And she's not supposed to be at this carnival because
You're not a senior.
Is this carnival on school property? My school never did anything cool, but my school also never unleashed the grim specter of death on me. So, you know, overall, I enjoyed it.
Wrong.
You can shut up.
This guy, literally named Frankie Cheeks, who graduated 2 years ago, walks around filming those same 2 thonged girls because I guess this town's main export is illegal pervert media. This yearbook is gonna be crazy.
There you do, flash me them sweet, sweet titties.
Still, I'm gonna buy it. I've heard the photos are really good.
I'd buy 2.
High five.
Give me some right here, man. Right here. What you doing? Get the
back. Oh. This jacked high schooler breaks the carnival hammer game, which is, I guess, a big deal to him. That's what I'm talking about. Meanwhile, Wendy's boyfriend, Jason, is shockingly attuned to his girlfriend and her needs.
You're nervous about this roller coaster because the real fear with these rides comes from the feeling of having no control.
Especially for a high school dude in a horror movie whose best friend brazenly photographs women's camel toes.
There it is.
Which is both very sweet and a little scary because Jason primarily uses this intimate knowledge to convince Wendy to ride a roller coaster that she is absolutely terrified of.
Yeah, good to go, baby.
I only use my intimate knowledge of my wife to get her to sing in videos while I'm a leprechaun. But to be fair, she shouldn't be scared anyway, you know, because of the science.
A roller coaster is just a conversion of potential energy to kinetic energy.
Literally, what are you talking about? That's true of anything that moves. Actually, bullets fired from an assault rifle are just converting potential energy to kinetic energy inside your shattered spine right now, so it's fine.
Elemental physics.
Back to the kind but manipulative Jason for a second. He actually refuses to ride in the back with his nearly weeping girlfriend.
I can't sit in the front. I cannot see the tracks.
And it's not like Wendy's friend is gonna do it.
F that. I'm going to Berkeley.
Oh my God, I didn't know.
I'm sorry, are you majoring in roller coasters or something? What are any of you talking about? Everybody just had something they wanted to talk about, and they're just using Wendy being scared to talk about that thing, even though it has nothing to do with what they're talking about. Hey, did you know that like kinetic energy exists? And she's like, I'm going to Berkeley. And everybody's like, what?
Okay. Take it easy.
Wendy, stop crying. Did you know that the human head weighs 8 pounds?
Elemental physics.
I don't see how that's relevant. But Kevin and Wendy's boyfriend flip a coin to see which unlucky shithead has to sit in the back with the love of Jason's life. It turns out it's Kevin. Ugh, the poor, unlucky, woebegone bastard.
All right, fine. What the f?
But sweet, kind Jason is still like,
Just do me a favor, keep an eye on her because she's kind of freaked out.
for you? Do it yourself, asshole. Take the back seat. You could be like, look at me, I'm the Rosa Parks of boyfriends.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Boom, buddy. No problem.
What are you assigning taking care of your girlfriend to the other girl's boyfriend? What are you doing?
Leadership is about delegation.
I guess. Why do they all so desperately not want to sit in the back? I'm going to a good school. I can't do it. I'll flip a coin with you, but it is in fact your girlfriend. I know, but I would literally rather die.
What the f?
I'm going to kill myself over this!
Check out this kid.
What? 55 inches.
Sure.
I'm so glad I'm watching this movie.
When else are you ever gonna see a dick that big?
It sure wouldn't be from hanging out with Dave, let me tell you.
It's all right.
Anyway, the roller coaster starts to roller coast, and everybody's so excited. But something tells me their Yelp reviews are gonna be largely negative. Was covered in the bloody remains of my classmates, but the funnel cake was good, and the camels were out, if you know what I mean. 2 stars.
Come on. Get hyped.
But actually, all the horror and the death was just a vision, and Wendy understandably flips the hell out.
Chick's on something.
And per usual, this causes a fight, and a bunch of teens are thrown off the ride. But not, notably, Trader Boy Jason.
Let me ask. No, Amish boy.
Nor Kevin's girlfriend, who, to be fair,
I'm breaking up with him after graduation.
but hadn't yet. She heard about the prom dress, and also because she was going to die in a horrific roller coaster accident anyway. And why make Kevin feel extra bad, you know?
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Small thing though, Frankie Cheeks is thrown off the ride post-vision, along with the goths, the thongs, the jack guy, and Kevin. But in the vision, Frankie Cheeks' poor camera handling skills are essentially the entire reason things go to shit and the roller coaster explodes. Did another pervert bring and drop a camera onto the roller coaster? Is it just like JFK, there was a second shooter on the grassy camel toe roller coaster?
So, thanks to all the perverts in town.
This town is crazy. Dave is holding up a sign and a camera that says, "Where is pervert town? I need go for job." No, you can't.
Hey, dude, let's go. Hey,
Cut to Wendy converting potential energy to kinetic energy by hugging her school books in the trash.
Elemental physics.
Which seems like a literal waste, but then again, school is over, baby. I used to throw Dave into the trash can every year before summer break. Don't need him anymore.
Sorry.
Wendy's generally struggling, despite multiple offers to go to the tanning bed. Kevin is like, hey, I learned about the plot of the first movie if you'd like to hear.
I went online looking for...
But Wendy is like, I hate you, Kevin. So, I guess not. Then at home, Wendy's sister gets pissed because Wendy stole her good luck bracelet. But because Mary Elizabeth Winstead is a legit incredible actress, easily the best in this entire franchise, though Stifler did amazing work as the guy you wanted to see have his head get cut off.
Is that true?
She manipulates her sister into giving the bracelet back.
You're all I have left.
Success! Hey, use what you got. When Dave steals my good luck bracelet, I give him a taste of Virginia AA all-region wrestling. Ah.
We don't even like each other.
Wendy then checks out a bunch of photos from that camera that I guess she never turned back into the school, despite the photos ostensibly being for the yearbook that everybody already has. And it's like, what? Was she terribly traumatized or something and forgot? If trauma means we forget what we're supposed to be doing with our cameras, then this channel would have ended in October of 2024. Suck it up, lady. But as she looks through the camera, she realizes, oh shit, that hammer game? It had a metrosexual rating. As in a metrosexual wouldn't be able to hammer the bell very high.
Probably near to a third of American men are marginally metrosexual.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Elsewhere, the two thong girls tan alone without ungrateful Wendy. And I really don't like this chick slurping technique. It's not a sex thing. She just keeps making the almost finished noises for like 10 minutes of runtime, with clearly plenty of liquid left in the damn cup. Your straw placement leaves much to be desired.
I can only afford the one sound effect.
Yeah,
I can't take this no more.
Well, at least she's not trying to make her oral sex-esque sounds into a cryptocurrency scam. I didn't think that was possible, but America remains the land of opportunity, baby.
Spit on that thing, you get me?
Are these movies sponsored by Apple?
I forgot my iPod. Sucks, bitch.
If so, that's an interesting association. Think death. Think different about death.
Here's to the dead ones.
The girls strip down to their boobs and get tanned way too hard.
I f***ed up. I said it's too hot in here.
Yes, you did. Now we're at their joint funeral where the science-inclined goth kid Ian is like, this is so messed up, dude. Like,
Osama, let's go. Still kicking.
As a filming, and yet these two hotties,
Never done shit to anybody. They don't get to make it to 18.
that's unequal. Though to be fair, Osama had that natural tan, so he'd never get caught in one of those beds. We would have caught him years ago if he was Swedish.
She said invade my cave with your special unit.
But before somebody can convert the kinetic energy from their fist into his mouth hole,
Fine, all right.
Frankie Cheeks is like, I hear you. I regret,
Seeing women is nothing but fun bags.
which actually sounds like it'd be admissible in court. And then the football guy says something surprisingly profound about the way we do funerals in America.
Yeah, man, these things really suck, man. Boring.
But actually, there is one way you could improve them.
If you ever have to come to my funeral, man, bring me a PSP or something.
I hate to break it to you, buddy, but that'd actually make your death even sadder. There's nothing sadder than being buried with a PSP.
The opposite of how Jay made me feel.
Jason didn't make Wendy feel anything like a PSP. I guess they are similar in that they've both been discontinued, though. There's no more Jason. There's no more PSP. There's no more Osama bin Laden. Really, nothing from this movie still exists.
Oh, it makes me feel so old because remember we used to love playing PSP with Osama bin Laden.
Right. Oh, he was so bad at it. Like, what have you been living in a cave?
He hated that joke.
I said he wasn't in a cave, but there was no stopping.
He's like, I'm gonna blow up a couple of towers over that. You're like, okay, Osama, sure you will.
I tried. Real hard.
But hey, while we're here, Wendy has realized the last photograph taken of somebody includes a clue into how they are going to die. For example,
Look at this photograph.
Abraham Lincoln's has a line where his head is, which is actually where he shot, if you remember. And also,
Look at this photograph.
of the Twin Towers with an airplane shadow, which is actually how the Twin Towers died, I guess. I mean, that's not really a person, but that's still two really strong examples. They like wrote that in the script, and then they had a researcher guy be like, this is literally all I have.
Look, I guess you came to me with this because I'm responsible for putting this in your head.
Back to that other. Does that mean that the football player is going to be killed by a metrosexual? That's so embarrassing. But also, if you got to be killed by somebody who takes pride in their appearance.
They're educated, refined, and have an incredible sense of
Murdering and f***ing.
The worst thing about being killed by Dave is seeing a half-naked Italian covered in mud and carbonara right before you die.
It's masculine.
At least I'm not gay. I'm like, this guy likes girls. Ah! Wow, look at this Sigma male coming at me covered in mud and carbonara sauce. I am honored to be slaughtered by him.
Oh my goodness. Look at you.
Kevin's like, well, all of that is very convincing. I guess we need to figure out the order in which we sat on the roller coaster because I read an article about the first movie and not the second movie where it was reversed. And anyway, death kills us in order because there are rules to this. Kind of, maybe. I don't know. They decide, oh, Sweet Cheeks Frankie is next.
He's gonna get crushed by a giant SpongeBob?
Okay, I see the confusion. It's Frankie Cheeks, not Sandy Cheeks.
I won't spill the nuts if you won't.
Okay, or maybe it's not that literal.
But Kevin doubles down and is like, hey, maybe he'll drown. SpongeBob does live under the water.
It's so sad that you know that.
What? How do you not know that? Everybody knows SpongeBob lives in a pineapple under the sea, which is like the biggest water. I mean, I guess technically oceans are bigger than seas, but seas are still pretty big. You ever seen a lake? Big, right? Seas bigger than that. And SpongeBob lives in a pineapple under one. Anyway, it's basic pop culture knowledge, like knowing that Garfield likes lasagna, or you should never say Dave's name in the mirror 3 times in an Olive Garden, because then he will unlimited soup and breadsticks your butthole. That's true. I tried it.
The worst Olive Garden visit of my life.
I was a bottom 3. There were other bad ones. Maybe if you watch more SpongeBob, you wouldn't cry all the time, Wendy. Although that actually might still not be enough because there's a fast food drive-through mishap and Frankie's head gets fanned all to shit. Wait, I'm confused. Which SpongeBob episode is that? What's the one where he gets his head entirely shredded by the back of an engine rotor or whatever? I just don't remember. Maybe I suppressed it. Also, I'm pretty sure that truck is from the second movie. And where did we land on whether drinking and driving is bad? I mean, if it leads to Frankie Cheeks' death, I mean, I could see both sides, is my point.
I so feel this is so my fault.
Wendy's pretty upset about the whole thing, but Kevin calms her down by resting his hand gently upon her leg. She's still actively covered in Frankie brains. Read the brain-covered room, you weirdo. He's like, it'll be okay. Don't be upset.
Oh, you have a Tide pen?
I think you're just kind of smearing around my leg.
Okay, easy.
They head back to Wendy's house and realize, oh, okay, actually, this is the Frankie Omen. And man, it sucks that he was killed by a fan when he just as easily could have been smothered by a camel toe if we're going off this picture. But knowing Death's weird sense of humor, he'd probably get kicked to death by an actual camel. They look at the football guy's photo and decide if he isn't killed by a metrosexual, then I guess maybe it's a weight falling on his head. So they need to warn him to stay away from coyotes hunting road runners. Or wait, maybe.
That's it, that's the clue.
We have to tell him.
Kevin says he doesn't want to know how he himself dies unless it involves butt stuff.
I mean, there's nothing like up my ass or anything, right?
And when he's like, why would you want to know if there's butt stuff? And he's like,
well, I'm full of shit, all right?
Okay, you're saying you might poop yourself. I get it. Hate to break it to you. That's kind of what happens when you die regardless. Whether you die with butt stuff or not, you're probably pooping yourself.
I mean, is it like painful or embarrassing?
Why limit yourself? Why not both?
That's why I always poop before I get on an airplane. So that if I crash and die, there won't be as much poop. So that when ladies look at my corpse, they're like, nice. Anyway, they voice their concerns to football guy, but he's like,
you won't crack.
And then his head is flattened by a Bowflex. Splattering blood all over Wendy and Kevin again! But it's no big deal because the gym apparently has decent showers and a change of clothes, which is good because this is like their 3rd shower of the day. Dry cleaners in these movies must be making a killing.
This is just, I don't know.
From there, they take their thrice showered asses to visit the goth couple they assume is next. And even though they've yet to prevent a single death, Kevin and Wendy are feeling pretty good about this one. But that doesn't mean they shouldn't also bring a bar of soap and an extra shirt, just in case. Ian, the boy goth, calls his boss
Osama bin Supervisor.
Because man, Ian really hates that guy. This guy won't give it up. It was one time. Then Ian nail guns a bunch of birds to death like they were Al-Qaeda or something. How Actually, hey, if we assume 9/11 was just death's design based on the picture earlier, does that mean Osama didn't even have a choice but to do the 9/11ing? Was he forced to by death like Hook Hand Guy was? Did we make a mistake? Should we have sent SEAL Team 6 to hell or Spencer's Gifts or wherever death lives? I don't know. But they once again try to convince these two idiots that Osama bin Death is coming to 9/11 them. They're trying to speak a language that he understands. He's like, everything to me is either science or Osama bin Laden related.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
But even despite speaking his language, they're dubious.
You think we care if you laugh at us?
I mean, maybe. It doesn't help that nobody really knows what death is.
Are you guys saying that death is like a person?
No, it's like a force.
They don't think it's a person, but they still think it's a force that makes conscious choices. You know, kind of like a person. But I think we should have at least one of these movies explain the anti-death force that clearly exists in this universe.
You're being a but go on.
Okay, but also ouch. Like, where the hell are the visions and omens coming from if not some benevolent opposite force? Like, what's their deal? Does it like save people and keep forcing people to bang to keep things going? Are death and anti-death competitive roommates? Did they used to date? Did they bang?
Wow, that's pretty much gonna ruin any plan Death's put in motion.
Nobody knows. But boy, this Lowe's is falling apart thanks to Ian's drunken baby-ass forklift driving.
And none of us have
I'm sorry, but you're fired.
Somebody's gonna get forking hurt. And indeed, they're forced to save Ian from some collapsing shit, but his girlfriend gets nailed harder than a slutty Al-Qaeda pigeon.
That's a heck of a sentence.
10 hours later, Wendy and Kevin leave the police station where Wendy's made the critical mistake of being honest.
What'd you tell him?
Everything.
But the cops never actually do anything, per usual. So Wendy heads home where her sister steals back her good luck bracelet, and Wendy realizes, oh my God, her sister was on the roller coaster and is presumably next despite being underage, because as we've established, that doesn't give a shit. They'll kill a baby. They'll kill a disabled person. What's one underage rebellious sister?
And what are you gonna do about it?
Wendy heads to the town's 300-year celebration and calls Kevin on the way to be like, I looked at your pic, and it sort of looks like
the firework went off my
butthole. Yes, I'm so sorry. You better take a dump and get that hole bleached because the ruins of your butthole are about to be plastered on the front page of every major newspaper in America.
You, Ben Franklin.
Kevin!
Crank 'em, settle down, settle down.
I know you're upset, but Ben Franklin has nothing to do with your butthole. Calm down. At least not after Lin-Manuel Miranda cut that song I wrote for Hamilton. Ben Franklin's butthole. Yeah, that's a butthole. My name's Ben.
Suck it.
I mean, don't get me wrong. He'd probably do terrifying things to your butthole if you let him, because B. Franks loved to party, but currently he is dead. Unless Benjamin Franklin is death itself. Oh my God, do you think, Dave?
Let us hope for some lightning.
Kevin tries to talk to Wendy's sister by just shoving dudes into baskets of carrots, but some dickhead kids blow up shit near a horse, which causes it to break free and honestly be a bit of a dickhead itself. Fortunately, Wendy's sister is saved last second by Kevin's sick sword skills, but her friend, who I guess was sitting beside her on the roller coaster, is less fortunate.
God bless the USA.
Although actually, that's pretty badass for a horse. Napoleon could have won Waterloo if he had just a couple good flag-throwing horses like this one. And anyway, the French hero horse then kicks Kevin. USA. But Wendy pulls a reverse Ben Franklin and saves his butthole from exploding.
God.
Wow, that's extreme.
Oh, it sure is. Ian, who seems like he's gonna murder Wendy as revenge for her saving him twice and also trying to save his girlfriend who was killed by his misplaced nail gun.
Oh, no way.
Except also, cut to 5 months later, and Wendy's wigging out on the subway, which is only exacerbated by the realization that her sister and Kevin also happen to be on the train. Man, is there any transport that's safe? Like, what do these movies want from us? To ride on bicycles like the Dutch? I'd rather die. Oh, this is very safe transport. I'm like, get out of here, Hans.
Dutch hater.
Anyway, a rat eats a candy bar, which causes the whole train to crash and everybody to die like the world's worst anti-littering PSA. But actually, Wendy's not dead. It was just another vision. But wait, will they have time to escape? Doesn't look like it. But also, why did she get a second vision? Did Devon Sawa get a vision of that brick falling off a building and just think he could dodge it if he ran really fast? Man, who knows? Credits. Am I crazy? Have we been up here for like a really long time? I just realized we don't have any seatbelts. Is that? Ah! Okay, so why are all my visions from somebody else's point of view? And where did the cat come from? Hey, I get so nervous watching the NASCAR events. Do you get nervous? Have you seen the 4th Final Destination movie? Would you like for me to explain the entire plot? Wow, they're driving fast.
I didn't buy him for you, I bought him for Nick. He likes me in sneaks.
This is it, the big one, the Final Destination, y'all. All those others were a Final Destination.
I'm sorry, not really.
I know this because, oh my God, butt metal, the Final Destination of music. We've arrived. And NASCAR, oh, I'm sorry, actually it's the Megatech 300, which many say is just as good as NASCAR, mostly because they crash way more.
You come here hoping to see a crash?
What do you think I am? A pussy?
Of course. Also, Nick has the stuff.
Here comes Nick with our stuff. Oh my God.
And also, Hunt snuck in these binoculars full of
straight up Jack,
which is good because Lori
really needed this.
And as everyone knows, Megatech races are notoriously dry events.
I started drinking at 6 a.m.
You have been in my stash. You snake.
God, Lori's been studying so hard for her college school test that will never come up again. Oh, it's a big part of her life in the cold open and never again.
Thanks for making me take a study break.
For the rest of my life.
But her friend Janet just can't get into the spirit of the track and the burning rubber because she thought they were going to a movie.
Tell me again why we chose this over
2 penises!
But also, this is 2009, where one of the biggest box office hits was Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. So either way, you were gonna watch some cars explode, might as well experience it in 4D. Although that said, is this really a decision that people make regularly? Like movies in this movie cost $6, but the average NASCAR ticket today is over $200. So, I mean, you've got to assume that the Megatech 300 tickets are at least $4 grand. I mean, Megatech 300. Come on! Wow. Do we not get the license for NASCAR? Just, I feel like that's what I wrote in the script, but I've seen Megatech 300 plastered everywhere. The only thing that could ruin today would be a cowboy with a big ass hat or, oh, shit. Of course.
Well, great. What did I just miss?
Oh, actually, he's a kindly cowpoke, and he agrees to move.
And I thought chivalry was dead.
Even though it's gonna be the same problem no matter where he sits, right? He's gonna either need to take his hat off or like lie down on the bench. Everybody you scoot in front of is gonna be upset about your big ass hat.
Down in front, asshole!
Other interesting sights include a woman shoving tampons into the ears of 2 future Supreme Court justices to prevent them from hearing any of this dialogue. Also, a racist circa 1968.
There goes the neighborhood. Boys will be boys, right?
And also other people who will eventually get to know and love so well. Also, I don't know if this matters, but the song over the radio is sung by Dale Earnhardt. Some idiot leaves some kind of car tool stuck inside a vroom vroom part of the car. Stop me if I'm using too much gearhead jargon. And the tool falls out on the track, resulting in a multi-car pileup that collapses the entire speedway. The damage may have been mitigated if other drivers considered maybe tapping the brakes until everything stopped exploding and collapsing, but death already killed their brain cells years ago, and they didn't hear any official word that the race was being paused, and if you ain't first, you're last, so they slam into each fiery wreck over and over and over. God, this reminds me of my wedding night. We watched the Megatech 300 then, too. It was a fiery wreck in that bedroom. I was very quick.
You're sick.
Apparently, somebody on the production team finally learned about these newfangled computer-generated graphics everybody's been talking about, because absolutely everything in the sequence is CG. They go hard with it. The explosions are insane, the destruction is overwhelming, and the quality is low. Based on the amount of CG, you'd think the budget was massive, but based on the quality, I'm gonna guess the director slipped his tech-savvy nephew $13 and told him to just go crazy until, oh my God, all that was a vision? I don't mean just the clear-eyed forward thinking of the director's talented nephew. I mean Nick had a premonition or something, or else he just squeezed the shit out of Lori's leg hard enough to legitimately hurt her for no reason. Ow. But also, damn, Nick, those forearms are going crazy.
What the hell?
You must have very strong forearms.
Like, Dave, come here and squeeze my leg and see if you can hurt me. Squeeze me like one of your French girls. But keep the camera rolling. We gotta hedge our bets on this internet creator thing. Diversify our portfolio. We do movie reviews and leg squeezing content. We're gonna make a new niche.
Are you okay?
Anyway, Nick calls a few shots to prove that, yeah, he can see the future.
Cowboy in a hat. He tears.
Excuse me. Pardon.
And to that end, he quickly buys a couple dozen Bitcoins and then uses his Popeye forearms to instigate a fight so he and a bunch of others can get thrown out, thereby saving their lives. This is actually a very smart way to do it. If he tried to yell like fire, people would all be like, that's what we're all here for, is fires. Unfortunately, not every life is saved.
Have you all lost your f***ing mind?
This lady apparently gets decapitated by a tire no matter what they do. Woo! But it's the butt metal opening credits that are all X-ray shots of the greatest kills in the whole series, baby! No artsy close-ups of ceramic monkeys or books that scream here. It's X-rays of buses and trains. Train! I actually didn't know you could X-ray automobiles. Are there like motorboat mammograms and ultrasounds for SUVs? Maybe we should figure out what's wrong with the trunk of Dave's car and why it's always saying, "Help me, I've been kidnapped." I'm like, your trunk. There's something wrong with it.
Hey, kid, that ain't funny. Sorry.
The four not dead friends tempt death once again by drinking way too much caffeine. On the TV, it says that amusement parks are going the way of the dinosaurs. I'm like, yeah, I bet. Remember that roller coaster that killed a whole bunch of sensitive boyfriends last movie?
I am never gonna financially recover from this.
But no, the news anchor doesn't think it's that. They think it's because of malls. Well, I guess not every look in the future in these movies is accurate. Hunt is like, we probably deserve to live, and it doesn't hurt that I have this lucky coin here. Come on, Janet. Show a little gratitude to the lucky coin.
Kiss him.
Come on, do what Dave always does and shove it up your butt and go, I'm a piggy bank. That's why I only pay Dave with direct deposit now. I learned my lesson.
Let's be thankful and just try to make the most of it.
Janet and Nick head to the memorial that night to pay their respects, and normally this would be a sad event. These were like a bunch of NASCAR fans, right? Like they were gonna die of meth or cirrhosis anyway. Uh-oh, Dave's Texas side just flared up. Dave, put down the hot sauce. It was just a joke. You know I love going to NASCAR funerals with you.
The hearse is all souped up. Rip
it goes so fast. I got buried in 20 seconds flat. Later that night, Nick explicitly dreams the god-awfulest, shittest CG vision of the next death. Apparently, the series is tired of having characters deciphering death's intentions through photographs or signs or logic. They'd rather flex its terrible CG to just hand-deliver clues right to Nick's NASCAR-smoothed brain.
I just had a really bad nightmare.
And I not only peed the bed, but I shit the bed.
Certainly easier to write than explaining how 9/11 was an inside job by the force known only as death. I just don't get why these movies are so anti-9/11.
Osama never done shit to anybody.
But even if Nick did interpret what it meant, it turns out to be the convoluted death of the racist guy who drives to the black security guard's house to literally light a cross in his front yard. He's mad at the guard because the guard didn't let him go back inside the raging inferno that was the racetrack.
No. My wife's in there!
And subsequently, his racist wife died. Actually, I think the racist has a point. The guard should have let him go inside and burn to death. But his plan, man, this is gonna take forever. And also, this is a pretty populous neighborhood. But I guess you don't make good decisions when you drink this series' bespoke beer and also are a racist asshole.
Nobody lives forever.
Kill him.
And I'm realizing that this is yet another installment where death is the good guy. Anyway, he's killed by his truck starting for no reason, and then the truck hooks the guy's leg, and then fiery liquid spills and ignites and blows his head off his body. Man, I don't think I've ever seen a more powerful condemnation of racism put to film. The Final Destination? It's equality. Oh my God! But also, okay, to me, what makes a Final Destination kill interesting is when it preys on an actual fear that people have, like an airplane crash, or a roller coaster mishap, or all the logs falling off a truck, or if you're Dave, that you might step on some slippery spaghetti.
Might be my greatest fear, actually.
Most of us will probably not be in a situation where we might somehow get hooked by the end of a parked tow truck and then set on fire and then our head is exploded off while we were trying to commit a hate crime. That's not a common phobia, I'd assume. Even inexplicable kills like the pane of glass falling on the kid in the second movie first play with how much it sucks to go to the dentist. It's just always more interesting to hone in on a specific phobia people have rather than solely relying on just a wacky series of mishaps culminating with you getting impaled by a flag thrown by a horse. Of course, if the kill is gnarly enough, that could still be fun, but this movie in particular seems more fascinated by wild Rube Goldberg events than preying on specific fears, and it's all the worse for it.
My ass is up there! My ass is up there!
But whatever, the next morning the news walks back all the condemnations of racism by being like, wow, that was a tragic night. This racist literally caught digging a hole for a cross to burn on a black guy's lawn lived a quiet, simple life. And what a tragedy it is that he drank and drove and exploded mid-racism.
Carter Daniels lived quietly in Fort Wayne. Details are sketchy on how Daniels was killed.
Racist horseplay.
It reminds me of that tragic short story, For Sale, Racist Shoes, Exploded. What? Another looking vision. For no reason, let's cut to Tampon Mommy and her, I assume, deaf kids.
What are you kids, stupid or something?
No, they can't hear, bigot. She punctured their eardrums with feminine products.
No.
Although, yes, they're also stupid.
Bet you can't hit that sign with a rock.
Okay.
She sends her kids to go play video games because she's just a tad late for her 5 o'clock hair appointment.
I had a 5 o'clock with Richard.
It's 10:06.
In the sense that it's literally 5:50. I'm sorry I'm late by a whole ass hour. But yeah, they squeeze her in anyway. And this is actually when you start to hope that the movie gets what it should be by teasing all the million ways she could die. But actually the hair appointment goes without a hitch and she's looking damn fine. So it's actually not that sad that she gets a rock bullet through the eye and into her brain. Because at least she died pretty, and all it will take to get her funeral ready is like an eye patch. She went out with bangs.
We just lost a really hot MILF.
That's redundant, Hunt. If she wasn't hot, she wouldn't be a MILF, would she? Words matter, Hunt.
Dude, this is serious.
Okay, well, filibuster.
Now, guys, I don't want you to laugh, but Nick and Lori, well...
Okay, don't laugh, but we stayed up Googling...
Because 2000's horror movie.
Nerd! Nerd!
And they're convinced the survivors are now going to die in order of the whatever. This is the 4th time we're seeing the scene, and I don't give a shit.
Don't you think it's just a little weird that 2 of the people Nick saved are now MILFs?
Hey, you know what? Kimberly is a real asshole for not posting anywhere how to beat death. It's crazy that they figured it out in the second movie, and even though every subsequent film protagonist learns about Flight 180, there's never any literature about the survivors from the second movie who legitimately learned how to defeat death. We have 30,000 failed stand-ups doing podcasts about spooky murders or whatever, but the person who actually knows the rules about combating death incarnate can't make a 2-minute YouTube tutorial? Do a Reddit AMA, something. Now some sweaty tryhards are gonna claim that there's a DVD bonus feature that shows Kimberly and Hot Cop's death, but if it ain't in the main video, it ain't canon. They're both selfish buttheads canonically.
There's tons of articles about people who had a premonition about a disaster. They saved themselves.
They did nothing! Nothing!
Anyway, Nick and company debate whether intervening defeats death or just changes the order of their deaths, which is a debate the first movie settled, but boy, is it fun to watch them talk about it again. It's like, what is the answer that I already know and have known for so long?
But others say, unless the chain is broken completely, then you're just changing the batting order, and sooner or later...
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
Another vision!
I think we can stop it.
I doubt it. You're no Kimberly or Hot Cop.
Would it kill you to be sensitive?
But I guess feel free to try. Except years of fumes from attending Megatech 300 actually means Nick is our most forgetful protagonist yet.
Well, who's next?
I don't remember.
Well,
So he and Lori break into the racetrack ruins to try to remember who the hell died when.
I can't remember who dies when.
Thankfully, the security guard is working that night. And he's like, man, that sounds literally insane, but here's some definitely illegal graphic snuff footage that should absolutely have been impounded by the police for the forthcoming trial against the owners of the Speedway for clearly never maintaining their property and the resultant 52 deaths.
young man, that sounds crazy, but maybe this will help you.
Does that help, Nick? Sweet, forgetful, dumbass Nick?
There.
Okay, good. Side note, my wife walked in here and asked if this was a poop. I was like, no, that's not a poop. I was like, get out, I'm working. Trying to close tabs. You know my job is poop. And I will say there's a whole untapped market for toilet poop death scenes, especially since they set those up with that massive shit guy in the first movie.
Let's go take a shit.
This is a real Chekhov's toilet situation here, Final Destination producers. If you want in on this, call me and say the code word poop death so I know you're serious. Nick thinks the mechanic whose girlfriend lost her head is next, so they head to his work for a quick Apple product shots and for the security guard to empathetically be like, hey man,
I know exactly how you feel.
I get that you're sad about your girlfriend getting her head knocked off by a tire. I've experienced a similar situation in that I drank and drove and crashed and killed my wife and kid.
I lost my wife and my daughter in a car accident. I was driving and I was drunk.
It's like the same thing. We're feeling the same things. But I've forgiven myself, so I think you should too. Or again, our situation's basically identical.
For a long time, I carried so much pain and anger.
No guilt?
Actually, in some ways, what I've overcome is more heroic because I didn't just lose my wife, also my kid. I hope this talk has helped. I'm sorry. You being drunk and killing your family is very different than my girlfriend being somehow killed by a tire. You're not cheering me up. But weirdly, the mechanic refuses a vehicular death in the family, bro. Fist bump for some reason. Oh, I see the problem. It's because he's been cheese grated through the fence by a compressed air tank or something? Well, I like to think he got the gist of what I was saying.
So now I try to live each day
like cheese.
Although it's interesting that they killed him with a chain link fence when a garage would be such a great setup for teasing the hundreds of different ways this guy could die, and most are more likely related to a common fear, like car herpes. That's Dave's greatest fear. It's how he lost his lips. The movie clearly anticipates the audience losing interest around this point.
I finished like 4 minutes ago.
Because it cuts to some extremely gratuitous sex with Hunt and some random girl at a public pool, while presumably still soaked with the pee of 1,000 children, which, by the way, the only thing separating them and 1,000 peeing children is this thin sheet of cloth. Hunt is one curious tween away from becoming a registered sex offender, although to be fair, Dave is always saying if you're not living one thin sheet of cloth away from becoming a sex offender at all times, you're not really living at all. Anyway, foggy-brained Nick can't remember if Hunt or Janet was technically flattened first, and to be fair, they were flattened at basically the exact same time, so he and Lori split up to try to get them to not die.
Was it Hunt or was it Janet?
It's honestly super weird that the whole plot hinges on one of the characters just having a shitty memory for just normal having a shitty memory reasons. It's not like Nick got hit in the head and has memory loss or something. It's just not very observant. Lori takes the security guard with her because she's a weak girl and she could never save somebody from getting like cheese grated in a fence or whatever, which that's the first thing they taught us in man's school. So like, is your friend gonna get cheese grated? Well, stop it. Don't let him. Back to Hunt. He gets sprayed by some dick kid. Is that piss? And he accidentally flips the drain pool switch that lifeguards are always warning us not to flip, and Hunt's lucky coin falls into the pool, so he hops in after it, and what? He gets his whole ass sucked so hard that his asshole literally gets sucked to death. Kevin would be so jealous.
Well, I'm full of shit, all right?
Janet, for her part, gives a bullshit penny to a picky homeless guy.
Penny? That's some bullshit.
And then gets bird shit on her windshield. Because fate made a bird shit, just like the plot made this movie shit. Death is like, hey, bird, take a shit. Because it's like trying to get her to the car wash. Death had to program bird has massive shit at this exact time into his reality controlling iPad or whatever. Anyway, her car and the car wash both have issues, and long story short, she's about to be as clean as her car. But they save her by slamming into her car, which should have actually realistically broken her neck since she's in ultimate whiplash position, but that wouldn't be Death's design.
Not quite my tempo.
Death wanted her so clean that she died. So when that can't happen, she lives. Except now she lives dirty. Oh, it's like they say, you can either die clean or live long enough to see yourself become dirty.
You can't give up.
No, it's okay.
Even though they literally just saved Janet, which they believe might end the whole death chain entirely.
I've been trying to kill myself all day.
But apparently he sucks at it. Been there, bud. I've also had days where I feel like I don't accomplish anything and everybody I try to save gets their ass sucked out their ass until they die. It can make you want to kill yourself. Keep trying, security guy. I believe in you.
I'm just trying to give God what I thought he wanted.
Nick and Lori come over because they were death-proofing their entire house, and they spilled some wet shit on a newspaper that appeared to highlight the phrase, "Through action they were saved." So they ran over to let the security guard know that. But wait, they didn't finish proofing their house.
We're done here. We need to make sure to safe-proof the bedroom next.
Oh boy, that's actually the most dangerous room in their house, what with the way these two just go at each other. Somebody's going through the drywall, tell you what. But anyway, for now,
To life.
To life.
Cheers to CG wine corks. Also, cheers to the security guard being legitimately invincible in a way I only joked about earlier.
Took a bottle of painkillers. I just threw them up.
I can't believe they're gonna test his powers by forcing him to fight crime or shove a beef and cheddar in his asshole and then suck it out with a vacuum cleaner. I call this a belching. A felching, but with beef.
I went to the garage, hooked the hose from the tailpipe, stuck it inside my
ass. Instead, Laurie catches a quick 3D movie with Janet. Oh, this movie was originally in 3D. That makes sense. CG looks totally awesome in 3D. Everyone shut up in case a Hollywood producer is watching this video. I have a bunch of 3D CG assets I gotta offload fast. Afterwards, she and Nick intend to take a trip together, but Nick has another vision. And this time with snakes, metaphorical snakes. Snake! He realizes, oh, that big-hatted cowboy technically survived the race, and it was technically because of Nick, however indirectly, so they just got the order wrong, and he needs to rush to the hospital to stop the cowboy from being killed the rest of the way. And the cowboy is in a hospital room below the hospital room of another older racist.
You know how many of your kind I killed in Korea?
Not even one.
I'm Chinese, sir.
We also killed Chinese people in Korea. America doesn't discriminate when it comes to killing things.
Same difference.
But sadly, that may be correct. Racist has weak legs and lugs and can't turn off his bathwater before it soaks the floor so much the whole thing falls through and flattens this kindly cowboy harder than the Koreans and or Chinese that the guy upstairs used to shoot when he was younger.
Want to get some Chinese after the show?
Yeah. Let's get him. Somebody help!
Nick and security guard almost get there in time, but obviously not quite. So they walk out and they're like, damn, that was crazy, huh? Oh, damn, that was crazy too. I hate when ambulances go 90 miles an hour right in front of the hospital entrance. Doc Brown only needed 88 to go back in time. Maybe slow down a bit. On the other hand, the faster you get there, the less you have to pay. So I understand the need for speed. And if they kill you, I think your ride is fully comped. Also, an ambulance? It's too bad Kimberly didn't throw this one into the lake. I think this movie franchise might be anti-ambulance propaganda. Sort of like emergency room bills. Those are also anti-ambulance propaganda. Dave, let me tell you about my trip. So we went to the hospital. They're like, we can't fix your wife, so we gotta put you on an ambulance. But I didn't know this. It's not like hospitals, at least in this area, I don't think they own ambulances. Jeff Ambulance owns ambulances, and he has a contract with the hospital. So our ambulance that we get into, it stalled out 3 times, taking us from one hospital to another hospital 15 minutes away. It kept dying, and the guy's like, oh. He's like, my bad, and my wife, suffering from acute appendicitis brought on by a tumor in her appendix, is in the back like, fuck. And he's like calling, he's like, yeah, number 11, not so good. Gonna have to bring it back to the depot. First I'm gonna drop off this chick who's maybe dying, but not as hard as my car, am I right?
Like you literally should have taken an Uber.
Literally would have been so much safer. It was a bad ride. Well, Nick realizes Laurie is next in line, and he has just an extremely straightforward and clear vision of the mall theater exploding. Usually it's like, ooh, snakes, hooks, what could it mean? And it's like, theater explodes. Girlfriend, theater, you get it, right? I'm about to go home. You get what I'm saying though, right?
What does it mean?
So anyway, he rushes to save his girlfriend, who is currently buying just the sluttiest pair of sneakers I have ever seen.
Doesn't matter, I didn't buy them for you, I bought them for Nick. He likes me in sneaks.
Oh yeah, daddy! Oh girl, you nasty.
In sneakers? You're covering up the juiciest part. Also, is this Frankie Cheeks Sr.? Ow! Laurie and Janet sit for their movie, but Laurie starts wigging out because, you know, everybody in this town keeps dying. But she'll ask Janet, who is completely over it, tells her to shut the hell up and watch the movie, Laurie.
Something's wrong. Yeah, no kidding. The person next to me won't shut up.
And like, hell yeah, Janet. If we had more people like you, we wouldn't have everyone texting in theaters today. But anyway, he gets there, and in lieu of pulling a fire alarm or calling in a bomb threat, Nick runs theater to theater yelling that Han Solo died, I guess in the hopes that Laurie will come out. He does manage to rescue her from the original series of looking 3D CG explosions, but Laurie is still eaten alive by a looking 3D CG elevator. Oh, man, death does not give up. But wait, that was actually another vision.
I mean, it's deja vu.
Which means we can save the security. Oh, damn it. That's not fair. That's not enough lead time. That took me a second to process.
That's like when you like quick save in a video game right as the monster's like swinging.
Yeah, and you're like, damn it. But still, we could probably save Lori, definitely. So this time, Nick runs straight to the poorly maintained construction site to deal with the fire directly. He succeeds in putting it out, even though he does get nail gunned to a wall, which would probably make Pinhead weep with joy if Nick wasn't so obsessed with Lori's slutty sneaks.
Legendary.
Also, side note, if he just had an officially sanctioned and extremely long vision, does that mean that he just saved hundreds of people? I mean, the explosions killed the whole damned mall in his vision. Does that mean this town is about to be beset by wacky mishaps for the next 10 years as death tediously works through the entire backlog? I don't know. But 2 weeks later, Nick, the safety expert, points out an issue with some construction equipment.
Pays to be safe, man. Trust me.
And then just jaywalks across a double yellow line. Anyway, Nick, Lori, and Janet discuss how great it is that they've probably definitely escaped death for real this time. Then Nick is like, well,
what if we didn't change anything?
And Death's plan was always, this whole film, to lure us back to this ironically named coffee shop so that we could be hit by a truck. And they're like, that's crazy. Oh. And since nobody can answer Nick's question due to their brutal CG X-ray deaths, allow me to take a stab. If that was Death's plan, why go through all that effort? The earlier movies implied Death is a dispassionate force merely tying up loose ends when somebody somehow magically has a premonition of its plans, but now we're supposed to believe that Death might send visions just as a way to screw with people and instigate extremely elaborate long cons? You're telling me it was Death's plan to blow up a Megatech 300 event, kill a bunch of the survivors with cheese grating and ass sucking, allow a theater explosion to be prevented, which again should start an entirely new cycle. Also, Death could kill 3 random teens with a truck?
What if us being here, right now, was the plan from the beginning?
That's so stupid as hell.
I think it's more likely that they defeated Death and then they got hit by an unrelated truck driver because drinking and driving is bad? No. Good? Well, I mean, the security guard drank and drove and he seemed really nice. Sorry, I don't feel like we have an answer.
And that is why I don't drink.
These are just getting insulting. I am not explaining the plot of every movie to every random person I see, okay? And I'm not scared of every vehicle, all right? I like buses. Hey, I don't really get nervous riding a bus, even a bus that uses 2005 Dodge Caravan seats for some reason, but I could understand why one might. Did you ever see the 5th Final Destination movie? Would you like for me to explain the entire plot to you right now?
Yum, yum, dim sum.
Did you watch the last movie under the impression it would be the final destination? Then you may be entitled to financial compensation, which you could use to support my Patreon. Has that ever happened to you? But anyway, oh, these opening credits are cool. Explosions, exploding glass, and exploding microwave. No exploding diarrhea, but still B+ for effort. Evidently, this is a best of the series kills, but also with exploding glass, which is the best kind of glass. Unless your eyes are made of glass. Although even then, imagine you're talking to somebody and suddenly their face explodes at you. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Like, what else are you using your dumb glass eye for? Might as well have it explode. But man, the producers of these movies are so proud of all their previous death sequences. Every movie now begins with us flashing back through them all like it would take some sort of genius to come up with run over by an ambulance or killed by a falling brick off screen. Maybe they're just proud of how much cash they save by showing scenes they already have. Although all the chaos has really thrown the title kerning and spacing out of whack. It is very upsetting, probably doubly so to my typographically obsessed graphic designer father. Although then again, he helps me with a lot of these thumbnails and these videos and they're not particularly professional. And also, do we think he's watched this far into this video? I don't know. He was born in the 1960s. I don't think he gives a shit.
I know that some of you are a bit suspicious.
We open on a team building breakfast that goes hard as shit.
When I say, would you mind putting breakfast together for their treat, I meant like some stale donuts.
Mostly because the guy who organized it, Sam, is good at cooking and also apparently has no other life obligations and is a desperate show-off.
Are you gonna be chef or are you gonna be sales guy?
Like, I'm pretty good at guitar and I show it off every once in a while. But it's not like he made one kick-ass omelet or something. He crafted a whole ass spread. That'd be like me performing a 45-minute set every time we brought out the cake for somebody else's birthday. But I guess he's earned the right because he's recently been offered a permanent chef job that he's not sure of because it'd require him to intern in Paris, which sounds Les Miserables.
They want to send me to the flagship restaurant in Paris.
And we won't give
What is with this franchise's obsession with sending people to Paris? People die in other cities, you know.
Hello, Wisconsin!
But maybe his showiness is why Sam's girlfriend, Molly, wants to break up with him. Maybe she hates omelets. And I mean, I bet dating Sam must be very fattening.
It's not working out, Sam.
Similarly, Sam's friend/boss intends to show off his unique skill set to his girlfriend/the office intern, Candace.
For the naked team building.
Again, regular team building would probably be fine, but this guy's an expert at building teams. You gotta press the flesh if you wanna get ahead in the corporate world, and my man presses all of the flesh. He just smushing that flesh together.
All right, this is not a vacation. Okay, this is a business retreat. So we're gonna be all...
That is disgusting.
And speaking of flesh, the office hottie, Olivia, is showing a lot of it. Too much, if you ask Candace.
If you want to get rid of that baby fat, you should try the gym.
Candace hasn't graduated college yet, which is why she doesn't know the difference between baby fat and regular old boobies.
They're called tits.
Oh, right.
And also, Candace, I really think you should have taken another approach. Like maybe make fun of her glasses. Be like, I bet you can't even see your ample breasts because your eyes are bad. Too bad your prescription is even larger than your bra size. That'd get her much better than claiming she's fat. Believe me, Dave has taught me a lot about shaming women. If shaming women was a restaurant, Dave would be the head chef.
Why do you let him get away with that? No choice.
Sorry.
Rounding out the people who probably won't be dead after the intro is a kind of funny misogynist named Isaac.
You're like a bigger gal, right?
And also there's Todd Packer, of all people.
What's the one thing we can't recycle?
John C.
Exactly.
Oh, and also there's Nathan, who isn't very popular with the factory workers who think he's...
what?
Okay, even if he was, that's not very kind. Maybe he's just
Frightened
Jenny! How do you keep sneaking into my videos? I have a lock on my studio now. Oh my God, that was like the 4th video. We're way past you, Jenny. Oh, it's because Nathan here is one of the multiple masturbating characters in the Friday the 13th reboot.
Lady, I'm about to ruin your perfect day.
It's just something I do to relax me.
So if you don't like it, then you can what?
Masturbate.
Wow, it's all connected. The strings of fate, the thick ropes of death, the splooge webs of destiny.
Again, it's like poetry, so if they rhyme.
Now let's get on the bus.
You coming?
Yeah.
The bus is forced to stop on this bridge because it's under construction, but like, why are they stopped? 2 lanes are open, and it's not like there's a construction vehicle pulling out or anything. Maybe this construction worker is death itself?
And you don't even want to with that.
Sexy construction worker?
I know, that's what I'm saying. Side note, why does this movie want me to suck finger blood so badly?
What was that all about?
I've never seen so much finger blood sucking in a movie. Is this movie sponsored by Big Finger Blood? Big Fingering? They're so corrupt.
There's an Elden Ring joke here. I don't know, even with the big fingers.
Dave, I have a family, so I don't know every little damn thing
Well,
about Elden Ring. I am not maidenless. Thank you very much.
What? Something's wrong.
Anyway, the bridge collapses, which isn't a super common fear, but it really should be because US infrastructure is literally crumbling. Candace gets motorboated in the bad way. And Ian rides the bus into the water. And Olivia falls in the water and gets hit by a falling car. But hey, wait. Actually, I think that's the play. If you jump over the side of the bridge, you can apparently survive relatively easily. The only reason Olivia dies is because a car fell on her, which she may have avoided if she didn't have eyesight and if her massive breasts didn't keep her floating so close to the top of the water. But the cars aren't sliding off the side. As long as you don't land ass first on a boat mast like Candace, you should be good. It's actually good advice for all situations. Don't fall ass first on any boats or tractors. But no, nobody else does that and everybody dies in increasingly terrible CG ways. Too bad a VFX person didn't have a vision to prevent this awful CG. But this was actually all a Sam vision. So he calmly informs the bus,
We're all gonna die if we don't get off this bridge now!
and he grabs Molly and books it, and the other main characters get far enough off the bus to survive the inevitable real collapse of the bridge. What's crazy is they do it with terrible CG, which seems like such a waste of money, and they could have just set up a camera near a random real bridge in the US. Eventually they'd get all they needed. They're brought before an FBI agent named Agent Block, which is an incredibly lame name. Was Agent Brick too busy killing Devon Sawa off screen? Where's Agents Shrek and Ween and Shipoopy? Were they just too hard to get?
Now, a woman who kissed on the very first date is usually a hussy.
No, that's not what I meant.
That is a The Music Man joke. Shipoopy, the one who's hard to get. Da, 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 da.
Can't wait for you to cover that one.
No. Agent Block is very suspicious about Sam's vision.
Did he ever demonstrate any sort of extremist behavior?
Despite the only extreme thing about Sam being his breakfast making skills. But he doubles down and is like, well, maybe because Molly broke up with him 5 minutes before they got on the bus, Sam somehow fucking blew up a bridge like a terrorist MacGyver.
You must have been pissed, right? Getting dumped like that.
It is the ultimate terrorism.
And I know this is controversial, but if you're skilled enough to blow up a bridge on the go in 5 minutes without any prep time, you should be allowed to get away with it. Some crimes are just too cool to prosecute. Because look, I've had a couple bad breakups and blown up a few bridges in frustration, but that took a lot of planning over the course of months. No way could I organize that fast. Do we think Sam is Osama bin Supervisor now? I mean, come on, Agent Blockhead. Got him. But no, as it turns out, the bridge fell over because the wind was too high.
We're chalking up the high winds and structural damage from the road construction.
Block is like, well, that's some bullshit.
High winds.
When has wind ever broken anything? But he agrees to let Osama bin Sam leave. But wait, do we know how hard Sam can blow? Maybe his lungs have the power of industrial strength fans. We're not even including the idea of Sam breaking wind. You've got to pursue every possible lead, Block.
I have a feeling we'll be seeing each other again. Call it a hunch.
Yes, you got me. I blew up a random bridge that I was on because of my terrorism. I also saved my ex-girlfriend from this explosive bridge. At the funeral, the survivors honor their fallen co-workers, especially Debbie White, all one word. We f***ed him up, but honestly, she's dead. Who cares? But then the morgue guy pops up and is like, hey, just so you know.
Death doesn't like to be cheated.
Oh, okay, thank you, guy.
Thanks for the advice.
But seriously, Tony Todd, are you like Death's hype man? Are you just a fanboy? Are funerals like Death Con for you?
Excuse me?
Sam goes to Molly's house where she admits she wants to break up with him so that he can be free to pursue that old Paris job, because Paris is the one place she can't go because she's got such a sweet gig over at the
paper company.
Surely they're gonna have to close this branch given the fact that everybody is now dead? Just go to Paris, Molly. Stop being such an Osama bin girlfriend.
You mean like a terrorist?
Hey, did you know that Candace is a gymnast?
Gymnasts are worse than baseball players.
Well, she is, and it is way too hot in her gym.
They've got to make it cooler or we're gonna
everywhere! They fixed the AC, but because every single screw in the final verse is stripped, barer than this premise, one pops out, which causes a gymnast to slip and create a smoke screen. Somehow Candace still manages to stick the landing though. Whoa, 10s across the board.
That's it. Every time, Candace.
And I'm gonna call it now. Most brutal death in the series. Also most creative. Most deserving of a recap shot in the opening credits of the next movie. Good work, team.
Okay, go to bars.
To drink alcohols at the bars. You earned it.
My beer, my beautiful beer!
Speaking of, back at the increasingly empty office, there's that Final Destination bespoke beer again?
So, who wants one?
I mean, all of us. What are they gonna do? Fire us from our job doing... you know. So they pound some beers and some liquors, and Peter keeps being a real Osama bin incredulous.
It just doesn't make sense.
In a general sense, yes, she died too young. But on a practical level, she did get smoke screened, and her spine isn't supposed to go that way. I'm a doctor. She didn't just suck at the bars, she was working under suboptimal conditions, which resulted in the suboptimal result. If I was getting smoke screened while I did this, it would be harder. I might snap my whole spine over my own head. Isaac doesn't partake in this pointless jaw wagging, choosing instead to lament and grieve the deaths of his friends and coworkers.
Oh, Debbie. You were so naughty.
He also steals their spa gift cards. At the spa, Isaac is being a total Osama bin Laden, I guess.
Yeah, you have a lovely little canter. Yum, yum, dim sum.
Yo, Buddha.
Slow down on the rice cakes. You come with subtitles. 2 billion people can't be Wong.
I mean, the guy was pretty misogynistic and racist. So naturally, the movie has an older Chinese lady beat the shit out of Isaac. Then he gets acupunctured all the way down to like his soul before Buddha gives him inner peace of skull lodged in his brain. Proving that karma is real in the most through your face way possible. This is the best way to deal with racists if you don't have a tow truck handy.
Who dies during a massage?
Inequality in America, Molly. That's who dies.
Yeah, raise your hand if you believe that.
I'm just now realizing how many places are gonna be closed because of death's indiscretions. I've already mentioned the Speedway and the apartment complex, but this spa is gonna be closed forever. Imagine the liability insurance needed after killing a massage client. What an unhappy ending. That Chinese lady will probably lose her house and start beating up guys for money under the overpass. And what about that tanning salon that cooked 2 clients alive? The hospital where a tub fell through the floor and an ambulance ran somebody over? The public pool that sucked out that dude's asshole? The amusement park with the off-the-rails roller coaster? The glass replacement company that smushed that kid? That off-brand Lowe's that shot nails into a woman's face? And on and on. That's a lot of economic fallout, Death. I mean, killing people is one thing, but killing a small town's economy? That's interfering in the American dream. That's not even mentioning the fact that this spa is presumably a minority-owned business.
This is a family operation.
Not anymore, bro.
I think Death might be a dirty commie.
And you don't even want to with.
You know, Marxism.
But whatever, coworkers show up at the scene, maybe because they also had small gift cards that are now worthless thanks to Comrade Death, and they run into Morgue Guy again and are like, dude, what is going on?
What makes you think I know anything?
He's like, okay, look, I've seen this before, and I don't know anything specific, but here is exactly what you have to do.
You let death have somebody else in your place, and then you take their spot in the realm of the living, all the days and years that they've yet to live, and they take your place in death, and the books are balanced.
If you murder somebody, that's considered a fair trade, and Death will give you their years. Now, this is something that would have been awesome to learn about at any point before this point. It also feels like a completely arbitrary rule for Death to have. Does he just have like a year quota he needs to meet? Like 150,000 deaths a day, or he's gonna get chewed out by that Mac Daddy Grim Reaper? Well, that sounds stressful. I'm sorry, Death.
What kind of up karma is that?
But also, I thought it really mattered who died, to the point where you care about killing people in a specific order. Feels pretty sloppy to just trade people out. Also, does that mean a serial killer could just live forever? Just be banking years from all his victims until realistically no amount of wacky incidents would ever take him out? Also, doesn't this kind of incentivize people to like kill babies? I mean, they probably have the most years to live, so if you're gonna rob someone of their time on Earth, i.e. commit a mortal sin, you should want to get the most out of it. I mean, killing anyone in, say, their 30s is just throwing away perfectly good decades. I mean, I hate to quote Dave, but if you gotta kill someone, the smartest choice is to kill a baby.
Younger the better.
And because you don't know what the baby's futures hold, you're probably gonna want to take out a whole orphanage.
I don't make the rules.
So for a minute, they consider flat-out baby murder, but Olivia first needs LASIK surgery before she can even consider stabbing some child somewhere. She's pretty frightened by the machine, but the doctor reassures her.
You know, it looks a lot worse than it really is.
Oh, does it? Well, if she could see what it looked like, she wouldn't be here, would she? I'm here because I can't look, you asshole. He should say it's not as scary as it smells.
By the way, I'm not a witch.
I just want to throw that out there. Also, the doctor mentions that he had LASIK himself, which presumably helps him really take in this view. Predictably, there's an issue with the machine and it lasers her eyeball way too hard. And also her hand, and also she slips and falls out the window to her death.
That's it. Every time.
She literally never saw it coming. And that's another business closed forever. Sam decides, surprisingly late into the movie, that Death might be killing people in a specific order. Nathan is next, but it's cool because Nathan sneakily murders his work nemesis, which means he's saved.
Did you kill him? Yes. I think I did.
Right to jail.
Hey, has anybody ever explained what's going on to Todd Packer, by the way? Like, he also survived. Nobody's told him anything.
What?
Oh, too late. No shit. Sam heads to his other, chefier job, and for the first time realizes, wow, this job is dangerous. I mean, it would be so easy to overeat here. But even still, Sam decides, you know what? I am gonna move to Paris. Maybe Death doesn't even want me dead anyway, because my foie gras is to die for. After work, and also after lighting 300 damn candles. There are so many candles. He's been here for 3 weeks lighting these candles.
By the time you light the last one, the first one's already needed to be
He's like, oh my God. He's preparing a late night dessert for Molly. That's why he did it. But before they can eat it off each other's young bodies, Peter shows up and is like, I gotta admit, I've spent most of my day considering murdering people, but
I couldn't kill somebody that didn't deserve to die.
Great.
yeah, that's cool. That's good. I'm not finished. Molly actually survived even in the original Vision collapse. So she actually was never in death's way, but she doesn't deserve to have lived. So killing her is actually totally fine morally.
Why is it that you deserve to live, Molly?
Big ass titties!
Nice logic there, Osama bin Laden, I guess. Damn. And I get that Peter's not thinking super clearly, but he's got a gun. And I feel like there are plenty of other people who might more deserve death than Molly.
Bin Laden, ooh.
She didn't even boob bully anyone like your dumb girlfriend did. And also, Molly's pretty old, baby-wise. Like, I'm just saying, Peter should consider shooting a baby, but like a bad baby, like an evil baby.
Mr. Jarvis is one of the most aggressive babies I've ever met.
Well, you don't know if that baby's gonna grow up to be Hitler too. You could be a theoretical hero. But no, he goes for Molly, though his initial attempt is thwarted by Captain Sam flipping the table to block the bullet. You'd think he'd be exhausted after all those candles, but he's still got a little fight left in him. Hey, you know how in movies with a bad boy versus a good boy and a good girl, usually the bad boy knocks the good boy to the ground, but before he can finish him off, the good girl jumps on him from behind last minute, but then she gets knocked out, and it seems like she's gonna die, but then the good boy gets back up last second and wins the fight in completion? Well, this movie also does that. These fights would be over in like 20 seconds if bad guys ever thought to double tap, but they never do. So it's just this seesaw of him standing over somebody on the ground being like, ha, I've got you now. Ah, shit. And then they're tackled by the other one, who then the bad guy defeats, and they knock them to the ground. They're like, ha ha, now I've got you. Ah, shit. Rinse and repeat. The only interesting wrinkle in this scene is Agent Block being outside before they start fighting. So he runs inside.
What's going on?
It's Peter. He has a
what?
But gets instantly shot by Peter, which I guess means that he gets Block's lifespan, luck or years or whatever, and maybe also his pension. I don't know all of Death's weird rules. Does he also get his diseases? Regardless, Peter could theoretically leave and be fine, but then he had to kill Molly to get rid of witnesses, I guess? But anyway, he doesn't, so I guess Sam, by the transitive property, now gets Agent Block's lifespan.
So does that mean I get Block's life?
Which is better than nothing, but he was a good 20 to 30 years older than Sam, meaning he'll still get killed by a foie gras explosion at a comparatively young age in a few years, unless he, if he killed a baby, a bad baby, a healthy bad baby with skilled but evil parents, not like skilled enough to get him through high school, but evil enough to make him racist or something, like you want the baby to theoretically be able to live for a long time because you need that years, but you need the parents to be evil enough to make him like hate Jewish people or something so that it's worth killing the baby. I've been this close to killing so many babies where I'm like, I don't think the parent is evil or skilled enough.
Get him out of here!
But Sam's like, if I have to kill a baby, I might as well kill a French baby. So it goes ha 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 as I stab it. So he and Molly, who I guess agrees to come to Paris now that everybody in their office is dead and or I guess is officially fired because they did actually end up closing the branch, they hop on a flight. A flight 180. That's right, this is a stealth prequel movie, which is why no characters bring up 9/11 or call each other Osama bin designated drivers. It's also why the plane explodes and Molly and Sam die. But I think we're supposed to take this as like a random coincidence, right? It seems like Death has agreed to not make Sam the object of its explosive designs directly, but has no problem killing him in somebody else's tragedy. But that doesn't really make sense because it seems like when a tragedy happens, Death is targeting everybody involved. Like whoever escapes becomes important only because they escape, but it could theoretically be anybody. So I guess Sam is being targeted again, which I suppose means that Agent Block was secretly hours from his heart exploding from eating too much of Sam's delicious foie gras or something? It's kind of confusing. Is Death responsible for every death? Or does it just sometimes say, you know, it would be crazy as if we blew up a plane? I don't know, but the thing is, on the ground, Nathan is attending Roy's memorial, his memorial, and a coworker offhand mentions that Roy would have died from his heart within days anyway, whether Nathan had killed him or not, and what do you know? The Flight 180 wreckage hits the bar and kills him because, again, he killed Roy instead of a super healthy, evil baby. And again, like the people in the bar, just unlucky? I don't know. Also, they don't mention that in the first movie. They're like, oh, the 39 high schoolers died, but they don't mention the shit 12 people in the bar. Very sad. And hey, does this mean that Tony Todd has known the exact way to defeat death this entire time and yet only explicitly revealed it here the one time? Or, well, I guess he actually also correctly explained how to defeat death in the second movie, even though it was a completely different way to defeat death. Why doesn't he explain it better in the first movie? Why does he like sandwich the first movie with a completely accurate way to defeat death and another completely accurate way to defeat death? But Devon Sawa, he's like, I don't know, there's nothing you can do about it, you piece of shit. Why does he hate Devon Sawa so much? And also, why doesn't he explain anything at all to anybody in the third and fourth movies? Did he just not hear about what was going on until it was too late for him to cryptically offer potential solutions that may or may not actually pan out? Whatever. Here's another supercut of literally every death in this series. Again, in case you'd forgotten since the opening credits. I'll tell you what, I sure did.
Not really.
We're going off a bridge. I'm starting to think I might not make it to this funeral.
I'm not gonna kill someone. Maybe we should let the guy finish.
I'll just have to honor his undeserving ass by cooking some spaghetti in a pot in Dave's mom's kitchen, just like old times. Although I am first gonna explain the plot of Final Destination Bloodlines, because like, wow, what a good movie. Oh, wow, a horror sequel with the subtitle Bloodlines? How has nobody besides Hellraisers, Tremors, Pet Sematary, Wrong Turn, Day of the Dead, and something called friggin' Meat Hook Massacre never done this before? I wonder who will secretly be related to, I assume Devon Sawa, but am secretly hoping it's Agent Shrek and Ween and Subi's thruple adoptive bisexual son.
All right.
I'm writing this literally 6 months before I watch the movie because I'm just so excited for the bloodline to be revealed. But time jump, it's now 6 months later and this brand spanking new movie is brought to us by evil New Line Cinemas. The movie proper opens on train tracks, which is fun. Also a blindfolded chick, which is even more fun if Dave is to be believed. And also she is being driven to a secret location by a man, which as Dave claims is the most fun you can have. She does seem into it, and apparently they're headed to a swanky dinner date inside a brand spanking new retro futuristic building called the Skyview Tower. The woman, Iris, is worried that she's too poor looking by 1968 standards, but her boyfriend assures her it's totally fine, don't worry about it. Nobody gives a shit about your dress. Oh my God, Johnny Cash's Ring of Fire is playing, which actually by the explanation implied in the first movie means that they and everybody in the restaurant will soon die by complications stemming from diabetes. What the hell are they serving at this restaurant? Everyone needs to drop the food. Because in the first movie, they play a John Denver song and he goes, he died in an airplane crash. But they're just playing Johnny Cash's Ring of Fire to act like they're gonna die by fire. But if we're keeping the rules the same, they're gonna die by complications stemming from diabetes, which is how Johnny Cash died.
I fell into a
bottle of high fructose corn syrup.
The song doesn't matter. What matters is the death of the person who sang it.
Died in a plane crash.
I just wonder why they're serving at this restaurant is gonna make everybody instantly die of diabetes en masse.
It's gonna be the longest video yet, and it's gonna be mostly you chewing. Just chewing. Unedited raw spaghetti.
I don't know, but the tiny little bellhop man running the elevator is like, hurry and mush your beautiful and mostly rich bodies in here. And naturally, Iris makes worried faces during the entire ascent. And to her credit, there are a lot of heights and creaky glass and honestly pretty suspect and overused CG. To make matters worse, the host is like, yeah, your reservation is no good because your inside man got fired. So sucks to suck, you stupid and in love idiots. But Iris is like, no biggie, let's just sneak in anyway. So they do, but she pretty quickly is like, excuse me, young lover, I need to go puke in a trash can. Turns out, whoops, she's knocked up and is immediately clocked by a nice singer lady who apparently brought her son to work that day. She's like, nobody pukes in trash cans unless they're pregnant or, I don't know, maybe if they were suffering from complications stemming from diabetes. Which do you have?
There are only two ways.
Iris and her boyfriend then go to the tower top and he proposes, and then Iris admits that the post-sex jumping jacks didn't work like she thought they would. But the boyfriend's like, oh, that's actually totally fine. I'm psyched that my balls work. This is the best day ever. In the 60s, they were always like, as long as you do some jumping jacks after sex, it'll fall right out. There's no issues.
I thought all my shifts at the asbestos factory have ruined my balls.
But hooray! I am fertile. Take that, communism. My balls work better than ever. But then some dick kid chucks a penny off the side that would definitely go entirely through somebody's head down below, if not for the fact that it somehow gets sucked into a fan and then shot into a gas main at impossible speeds. Meanwhile, everybody dances so damned hard on the dance floor that they shatter it, and Iris's now fiance falls to his death, and a chef accidentally sets a lady on fire, and then she falls into the loose gas, causing everything to explode.
Penny. That's
And this is why my kids are not allowed to listen to R&B music. You'll dance so hard that you collapse and explode buildings, and then you fall 1,000 miles to your grisly death. I've seen it happen a lot. Just like that. Anyway, Iris tries to run down some stairs, but they collapse. And then she tries to get on an elevator, but that collapses. And then half of the top part of the building slides off, but she survives that. And then the penny from hell makes yet another appearance to tip over a piano onto a bunch of people.
Penny. That's
doing that.
And then it actually plops back into the wishing fountain from whence it originated, which is why I also tell my children to never make wishes. Well, actually, that was a lesson from the Wishmaster series that we're doing in a month or two, but it's still good to see that the lesson applies here.
Silence. But my poor people.
Speaking of kids, Iris grabs the singer lady's kid to try and make him not die, but oh, dang it, she fails utterly. No! And while you think this whole scene was a premonition, it turns out it's actually a nightmare had by this college girl, Steph, in her college classroom. And then she has it again that night in her college bedroom while sleeping across from her college roommate. See, it's now modern day, and Steph has just realized that this lady that she's dreaming about for the past 2 months is probably her grandmother that she's never met. And her roommate's like, oh my God, that's so interesting. Why don't you go home to learn more about this mysterious grandmother? And while you're at it, shut the hell up. Why do you scream yourself awake every night? Holy shit, I'm about to stuff your mouth so full of socks that you're gonna shit Hanes for the next 2 months. So Steph heads home, and her younger brother Charlie is pretty dismissive of her, but agrees to let her drive him to hang out with their cousins. But on the way out, Steph's dad is like, whatever you do, don't mention Grandma Iris to your uncle, or he'll get so upset he might literally throw himself under a lawnmower. Just kidding. I'm okay. It's all right. But hey, man, it does suck that your mom left us when you were 10, huh? Anyway, get out of here, you crazy kids. On the way to the cousins, Steph admits to her brother that she's now on academic probation because she sucked so much at sleeping recently because of Grandma Iris's friggin' diabetic nightmare. And Charlie's like, bummer. Well, the cousins and I don't feel close to you anymore because you haven't visited much since you left for college. You can also say you're on familial probation, if you catch my drift, Steph.
Don't you see this?
And Steph's like, damn, double probation? Better immediately confront my uncle about Iris, hope he doesn't get upset, literally like throw himself under a lawnmower. Oh, you do actually seem pretty upset, my uncle. And he's like, damn right I'm upset. Iris went insane when we were kids and became obsessed with death and trying to not die all the time until eventually CPS took us away. But even still, she'd mail letters full of obituaries and stuff to our foster houses. And basically, she was a crap mom. A good mom wouldn't care so much about death and would have let us play tag with blowtorches and shoot nail guns at people who looked different from us. She was a real Osama bin mommy. This doesn't dissuade Steph, unfortunately, so her aunt is like, all right, fine. Iris's contact information is in a secret drawer in the dining room. And Steph uses that information to track down Iris's post-apocalyptic zombie-proof fort that seems way more death-inviting than death-proof. I mean, it definitely looks like it could thwart the Allies' attempts to storm Normandy Beach, but I'm struggling to see how having 50,000 spikes all over your house and front yard protects you from death.
See, I would go the other direction, is like make it out of soft things.
Yeah.
A marshmallow fort.
She like forced everybody out of a McDonald's playpen. That's Iris, we can't get her out.
She's really dug into this McDonald's playpen.
Yeah, she's in the ball pit with a knife. We just don't go near her. I mean, I guess it makes sense if she thinks that the things that are gonna kill her are in fact pigeons. In that case, I'd say, yeah, this is a reasonably pigeon-proof living situation you got here. And it's crazy that she literally did the thing that I said Devon Sawa would never do in the first movie. She lived in a ass cabin for decades and decades, eating out of cans and stuff. That's the kind of discipline you need to not get murdered by a brick with a gun. But anyway, Iris is like, okay, you can come inside, but first, empty your pockets. especially if you have poison. And then once inside, Iris explains that, yeah, Steph's nightmare is the same as a premonition that Iris had 56 years ago on the retro-futuristic roof mid-proposal. And she immediately took the penny from the dick kid and covered the chef's more fiery meal offerings and got everybody off the dance floor right before it cracked.
Hundreds of people were supposed to die that night, but Iris stopped the disaster.
And actually, Death's been picking off the survivors and their never should have been born offspring one by one for, again, literally 56 years now, because holy shit, that's the whole point I was making about the fourth movie.
Since there were so many survivors, it took years for Death to get to all of them.
Like that mall catastrophe, certain premonition-led survivals could take literally half a century to resolve. That said, I still think at a certain point it becomes impossible to catch up, given how the second movie claims that every single person who almost basically just interacts with the survivor would also need to be killed by pigeons or whatever. At a certain point, it's basically exponential and would spread way faster than Death could ever hope to come up with Wacky Deaths 4. Nobody's that creative. Hell, we've only gotten 6 of these movies in the past quarter century, and the creators of those movies are getting paid to do it. You know that Death spends half of his day playing Minesweeper while trying to come up with new ways to shove a pigeon up somebody's ass or whatever. How can I convince a pigeon to fly inside of a butt?
Might be my boldest idea yet.
But even though Iris has thwarted that Mac Daddy all these years, he has apparently given up and just switched to normie cancer. And her diagnosis actually coincided with Steph's nightmares. I know that life. Iris now believes Death will go for Steph and the rest of their family members because remember, the baby uncle also was supposed to die in utero, and subsequently any other Irish children and grandchildren also shouldn't exist.
These people went on to have families that they never should have had.
Because they suck!
And Iris wants to teach Steph how to look for death signs and how to shoot all pigeons on sight or whatever to stay safe. And she tries to hand Steph a big ass book full of research, but Steph is pretty weirded out and she tries to leave.
This book, it will show you pigeons.
And it's a miracle she doesn't immediately run into a spike or something. But Iris actually has a pretty clever idea about how to prove that this is all real. She runs outside and her face is instantly exploded by a fallen cockless weather vane. It's called a weathercock if it has a chicken, but I don't think it does have a chicken, so it's a cockless weather vane. That's the technical term. Oh, yeah. I looked it up. Google AI was like, sure.
Good. We're learning.
You can only really win like one argument this way, but you will win the hell out of that argument. So they hold a funeral for their long-lost grandmother, and then, oh shit, Steph's long-lost mom rolls up randomly in an RV, and sure, Steph's not happy about it, but in general, this causes way less family conflict than you'd expect. She's been completely missing for 10 years, but the uncle welcomes her back like she just got lost for 5 minutes in the produce section at Wegmans.
Family. You don't get to pick the one you get. Just gotta love the one you got.
And even Steph's, I assume, cuckolded dad is like, well, I don't love this situation, but I also will basically say nothing about it, opting instead to just sort of mopily make sad faces in the background sometimes so that you know I'm annoyed at my wife for abandoning me and our children.
He's a relentless son of a bitch.
So naturally, they throw a hooray, mommy is back, asterisk, I guess also boo, grandma's face exploded barbecue. And there are many things that look like they could kill somebody, like broken glass and a drink and a real hot ass grill and a highly pokey looking rake. But most of these things actually have nothing to do at all with Death's immaculate design. In fact, the chill ass uncle is like, hey, long lost sister, why don't you stay with us in our house for a while? But she's like, no, you're better off without me. So he very sadly gets up, steps on some broken glass, falls down, and gets his entire head hacked off by a lawnmower. I guess that's what you get for buying a lawnmower that you can start just by pressing a massive green button and that apparently has no governor of any kind and will just keep hacking away even as it struggles to completely obliterate a full-sized human head. Steph's fully convinced now, and she uses her academic probation level research skills to really dig into learning about omens and learning all of Iris's theories about how Death hunts down entire Final Destination bloodlines at a time. And then Steph presents her findings to the family, and they are not thrilled about it. And I guess God also wasn't thrilled because at this point the power in the theater died and it took 30 minutes for them to get things back and running. Just to be safe, I hid in the theater bathroom, like just in case. The men's bathroom. Dave always uses the family bathroom because he says it has more bang for his buck, which I'm too scared to ask what that even means. I don't know, dude. You're writing jokes at midnight. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
There's a lot of room in there. It's got a folding thing you can put your snacks on.
You can kill a whole family in it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Eventually, the theater power came back on, and Steph doubles down, pointing out how her dad and aunt should be safe, because they're just worthless in-laws, and death has no designs upon their blood. But the rest of the uncle family will die in increasingly brutal and wacky ways before death moves on to her mom and their little bloodline. But still nobody believes her, despite, you know, like, she has like so many graphs and stuff. But honestly, I feel like characters with insane theories in horror movies would have a better chance of being believed if they just ran their evidence through Canva real quick. You know, just made a real nice slideshow out of it. Instead, they're always duct taping newspaper clippings held together with literal string to the wall, but it's too hard to read, and I'm just gonna say, you look insane.
Yeah, the slide transitions would really help. This is Grandma. Here's her exploded face.
Stephanie, sweetie.
You know, spend the money on a real classy font. Anyway, so the faithless eldest cousin Eric heads to work at the tattoo and piercing parlor
As a favor
to a co-worker whose dad presumably didn't just have his head mowed off like literally the day before. It is crazy that he's like, well, I was only doing this as a favor for you, despite the fact that my dad was mowed to death in front of me like 4 hours ago or whatever. It's okay to say no if your dad has been mowed to death in front of you. It's also sort of a job that requires some focus. He's literally is piercing a woman's tongue in this scene. It's like, I don't want you to be distracted by how sad you are about the time your dad got his face mowed off like 5 minutes earlier. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm distracted. My dad's face got mowed off. It's fine. I'll get another eyeball.
Hey, 5-star review, yeah? Like and subscribe and all the things.
But then he encounters a wacky series of escalating issues whereby the ceiling fan hooks his nose ring and pulls him into the air while flammable liquid spills and a fire breaks out. It's like, it's a whole thing. It's just not a lethal thing apparently. But then, oh, he's not hit by a truck. Wow, this dude is just surprisingly lucky. He even dry humps a dump truck with no ill effects, which is crazy because Dave has suffered from severe dump truck syphilis for years. And he only had like 37 sexual encounters with dump trucks?
Dump truck syphilis sounds like the coolest new street drug. I don't know what that...
It's like a cocktail, yeah. It's like from like one of those like edgy bars. But then Eric's sister Julia has a wacky series of mishaps of her own that causes her to fall into a trash can, get dumped into the post-coital dump truck, and then get squished entirely flat. Which is sad, but then again, if you're gonna pop like a blood balloon, there's no more easy to clean place to do it than the back of a dump truck. It's the little things. You gotta find those silver linings, guys. They're like, this death is horrific, but no mess. Unlike Daddy's mowed face all over the yard.
Oh, right.
How do you get that out? Now, I know what you may be thinking, which is, hey, this feels like death is cheating, because I thought I had to kill in order of age. But here's the thing, you idiots. Turns out Eric is a big fat bastard, and the aunt committed adultery with some dude whose mother didn't survive a horrific freak accident thanks to a timely premonition. So now Julia's dead thanks to that little cover-up. Thanks, Aunt Slut.
Chill out, dude.
Did you have an aunt slut growing up? I feel like every family has one. Steph mentions that Iris notes claim a JB has figured out how to defeat death. And for a second, I was like, whoa, has she seen this video already? That's impossible. This is the first time I've ever talked about these movies in this legally distinct way. You must be mistaken, Iris. There must be another JB. But no, actually, Steph's mom is like, oh, I think this mysterious JB works at a hospital. And again, I'm like, whoa, I'm not a real doctor. I don't work at a hospital. This isn't me. It's a different JB. Anyway, that hospital is like an hour away. So, family road trip. The final blood cousin, Bobby, wants to come along since he's ostensibly next in the death queue. But they're all like, no, you shouldn't drive around in an RV. It's too dangerous. But he literally says, what if I fall in the toilet? They're like, good point. Hop on in, buddy. Eric also comes because he's got nothing else going on. I mean, he literally just burned down his place of employment, so he's got a lot of free time. They arrive at the hospital to discover JB is in fact William Bloodworth or whatever, and it's Tony Todd.
Yes.
Who, twist, was also the little kid from the premonition. Sadly, he looks super skinny and doesn't sound great, and he died of stomach cancer not long after filming, and in fact, his final words in this film, and indeed any film, were actually written by Tony Todd himself, which is both very cool and very sad. But before that, Tony actually confirms most of the shit I've been thinking about in this video and says, yes, you can officially beat death
by killing or by dying.
And hopefully getting resuscitated post-death by a Calargian ex machina type. The only reason Iris never tried the dying route was because it's pretty risky, although it feels like living in a post-apocalyptic pigeon fort shaking with fear for decades and decades is a significantly worse option. Or again, just murder an evil baby. Although, hilariously, the movie also has the same baby idea as me, and Bobby and Eric do actually sort of look hungrily at a few babies and briefly consider killing them, like I suggested in the 5th movie. Oh, and also, Kimberly from the 2nd movie is officially, canonically, still alive, you friggin'
Pigeons.
pigeon. Told you I was right. DVD bonus features don't mean shh.
When death is on the line.
And also canonically, yes, she sucks ass for never telling anybody about how she did it. Man, this movie is validating my conclusions left and right. Anyway, then Tony says sad and poignant things and leaves literally forever.
And you don't even want to with that Mac Daddy.
Eric, meanwhile, is like, yo, Bobby, let's freaking kill you, dog. We're in a hospital. As long as you don't die too horrifically, they could probably bring you back. And since you've got a peanut allergy, let's make this easy and fun and just kill you with some peanut butter cups. It'll be equal parts effective and delicious.
What? No,
Bobby's a little hesitant, and he somehow manages to accidentally switch on an MRI machine while Eric grabs a wheelchair. But yeah, overall, his death seems to be going super great until, oh, the MRI magnet becomes so powerful, it sucks half a dozen jewelry pieces off Eric's nipples and dick before ultimately sucking a wheelchair, but like through Eric.
Good luck.
Bobby manages to save himself with an EpiPen, but because the MRI magnet was turned up to research levels, his head gets impaled by a loose spring from a vending machine outside that was getting sucked at supersonic speeds. And then a nurse or doctor or somebody sees this, but instead of trying to help, she just screams? This is a hospital. Surely you could sew the top of Bobby's head to the bottom of Bobby's head. When do you need to do research by turning up an MRI machine so powerful that it sucks a vending machine from outside the room?
That was the most Looney Tunes ever, like the big Acme magnet.
Yes, science! So now Death's officially targeting Mommy's Final Destination bloodline, so the three of them agree to go hide in Grandma's pigeon fort, but I just don't see how anybody can functionally drive anywhere in these movies. It just seems like it'd be so easy for Death to pop their tires or cause an engine failure or throw 15 pigeons into the windshield. It's not wacky enough.
It's not wacky enough.
Except for the movie where they do it.
Right.
The 2nd movie. Oh, you know what it is? It's the tariffs. There's no more big trucks on the road.
Damn, you're right. Death is like oh friggin' Trump.
It's called fake news.
I mean, sure, they almost run into a log truck. But they don't actually run into the log truck. And they do make it to the pigeon fort, except, oh shit, somebody locked it? Who locked it? The pigeons? I don't know, but the mom thinks Death is about to make a move after, I don't know, napping during their drive. So they slam the RV through the gate and into the compound, overflowing with anti-tank spikes, but miraculously, nobody is injured because it wouldn't have been wacky enough, yeah? But then, of course, the entire cabin explodes thanks to some appropriately wacky shenanigans, causing the RV to tip into a pool of water. Charlie gets stuck under some wood, Steph gets stuck in some water because her seatbelt is stuck, and Mommy's exploded and burned. But thankfully, Mommy is able to get up and free Charlie before she's flattened by a pole, and then Charlie frees Steph, and after she maybe dies from drowning, Charlie brings her back with CPR. Holy shit, yay!
Little pervert!
Just like Kalarjian and Kimberly, they did it, we did it, hooray, the bloodline curse is over, now Steph can do college better, maybe. Well, that's assuming they can get to safety, because like, where are they right now? Oh no, I guess they did make it home, and now Charlie's got a prom date, except, wait, his date's dad is a doctor, and he's like, well, technically, Steph, you didn't technically die, you were just unconscious, and she's like, oh God, but okay, let's back up for a second. A few days ago, the infamous wishing penny that Iris kept from the Dick Kid incident fell out of the research book that Steph's been toting around, and then the penny was picked up by an old lady who just now dropped said penny, and it rolls onto a train track, causing a whole ass train to derail and almost kill Steph and Charlie, but thankfully it doesn't. The logs on the train kill Steph and Charlie, but the train itself doesn't touch them. That's it. Bloodline officially ended. All that's left is, I guess, Tony Todd.
Good luck.
That's kind of sad to think about, but I guess it's time to start this spaghetti. The first step is to put my butthole in the sink. This must be fancy spaghetti. All right. That's why I refuse to fly without Dave, because he doesn't have lips. He's disabled in the mouth. It's like I fly with him because God would never